Now for our main event. Tri-City Sports Keepin' It 100 starts now.
Keepin' It 100 can be found on all podcast streaming apps: iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Overcast, Castbox, Deezer, and finally, officially on Google Music and Podcasts. It's Keepin' It 100 with Phil and Shayne.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Keepin' It 100.
Chicago's trading up.
100.
Yes! Yes! What? Here it is! Tradition reported.
It's an open competition.
Keepin' It 100. The people drop off, but we still keep rocking.
I know we need to run the ball more. I'm not an idiot.
Keepin' It 100.
Keeping it 100.
Open competition.
Keeping it 100.
The smartest man.
My Chicago Bears select Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State.
Guess who's back? The two dudes that kept it real. The dynamic duo that you love, the smartest man and Dr. Phil. Breaking down the film, never a problem, kick it straight. Most shows focus on stats, we focus on the tape. We keeping it 100, never running east or west. We coming with that truth, cause that's what our fans expect. Cut off the freaking anchor, moving forward to be free. But don't you worry, Shayne's got the dumbest tweets. It ain't no secret, Phil and Shayne got some haters. But now the mouth stuffed like the true and now and laters. Debaters, frauds get kicked like Coach Tabor. Cuts had to be made, we added a barber moderator. Up and down, boys got you double checking. Sad sacks strolling like a fool drunk texting. Flexing on the truth cause you know they'll never change. Real, recognize real, that's what you get with Phil and Shayne. 100's what we do when we're breaking down the Bears. Fuck a play or a captain, all of the upstairs. The tape never lies, the truth, you see. We laugh, we lie, so there's no babies like Maybelline. Straight to the truth with acumen and facts. We got a sad nerd, but he's not just giving nerd stats. Car crash, big impact like Max at. Every Wednesday night you got the smartest man and Phil back. Now we know you're smiling like a fat kid with fun day. We're back better than ever and we're keeping it 100.
Keepin' It 100, baby. Keepin' It 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest
Keeping it
man.
100. Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keeping it 100.
Keepin' It 100, baby.
Keeping it 100.
Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man.
Keepin' It 100, baby.
Draft Dr.
Keepin' It
Phil.
100.
Keeping it 100.
Shayne, Money Man Marsaw, and
The following show is for mature audiences only. Tri-City Sports.
Watch the tape, and when you see the tape, you know the tape doesn't lie, and the tape doesn't lie.
The Tape Never Lies Network. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Keeping It 100
you got to keep it.
crew.
Yes.
Big plays are nice.
He's so inaccurate at some point.
I agree.
He had 20 for the Bears.
Exactly great.
Oh my God! I am in heaven.
Go to the game. We'll tailgate before the game.
We'll call our show TTNL in the stands.
There's hope, guys. There's hope.
I hope
If
there's
we got
hope.
the right people, I hope that is hope.
Give me a tackle
Yeah.
or give me that.
Chicago Bears at number 39 are selecting offensive tackle Tevin Jenkins.
Yeah! Yeah! Oh my God!
TTNL, damn it.
What? Still on the board. It's time for one to be traded up for.
Here we
Chicago's
go.
trading up.
Yes!
What?
Here it is.
No, we're very economical, my family.
The difference between winning and losing the game is catching and dropping the football. One time.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Become a patron. Keeping It 100. Head over to thetapeneverlies.com.
It's the #1 Bears show on the planet, baby. Keeping It 100 on the Tape Never Lies Network.
Yo, you got to keep it 100. Yes, the Tape Never Lies Network. The Tape Never Lies Network. Grab Dr. Phil and Shayne, the smartest man. They keep it 100 and they bring it to you. Yeah, right here on social media. The best Chicago Bears show going. With Bears coverage, Bears film work, Bears interviews. Free agent frenzy coverage, the draft coverage coming up pretty soon. The Tape Never Lies Network is the place to be. Become a member of Patreon for $7 a month, and you'll get more info, more film studies. Tape Never Lies, breakdown of players. Oh, it's on and cracking. The Tape Never Lies Network. Grab Dr. Phil and Shayne, the smartest man. And I want to tell you something. I love these two brothers. But don't tell them I said that. Keep it 100.
What did you say about collaboration?
Fantastic! Brilliant! Big plays are nice. I love them.
Big plays are nice. They're good. We need more of those.
Because he's trotting. He didn't get the ball. He looks back. He knows someone else got it. He doesn't block. Adrian Amos is your guy. Allen, want all this money? Block someone.
A lot of pussycats. A lot of pussycats out there.
If you want to, you got to be a good physical center. And Amos doesn't get moved here. The cutoff block by Whitehair fails. And they're just pushing.
And let's be honest, if the dude's a fucking pussy. Phil, you know where I'm going with this.
Happy birthday, dear Philip.
This is Greg Braggs.
Happy
Indiana.
Ending up on a list somewhere. Yeah, exactly.
What the hell is even that?
I really do believe that having a talent like Justin Fields is going to give us an opportunity to see what Matt Nagy is able to do. I want you, Aaron Rodgers. I want you to be on the field. I want it to be Justin Fields who super kicks you to Las Vegas or Denver or wherever the hell you're going to end up. Let us send you out the door. Don't take the easy way out. That's not satisfying. I don't want to be like the Buffalo Bills who won an AFC East title once Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay. I want to win the title with Aaron Rodgers as the signal caller for the Green Bay Packers.
What the hell is that?
Nagy was there, but you pushed into the football side of the conversation. And I felt like, and I'm stealing from Sean a little bit here, I always give credit to everybody, so I make sure I say this stuff, but I felt like Nagy opened up a little bit for you because A, you kept it $100 or kept it 100 for the show, and B, you kept it on the football focus. So what was that like, and what did you feel like when he was answering you?
I feel like he was open and honest. You got a little bit of your coach speak in there, which you're going to get from most coaches.
Yes.
I felt like he got what the vibe was. because he could have killed the vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like he could have been standoffish. I got a lot of time. I got in every question that I wanted. I removed one question, but I got in every. By the time they said he had one more question, I was like, cool, because all I got is one more question.
They brought in a couple of veterans from the outside. They drafted another wide receiver this year. They may give Javon Wims and Riley Ridley some looks. What is he going to do? How is he going to react? Is he going to hold a tent and pout like a little bitch, or is he going to say, "Hey, listen, this is life, is competition. Let me get my act straight because my NFL career could be on the line here."
Keep your circle small, and that's how it gains strength, and that's kind of what we've done here. And Ryan, we just want you to know, how much we love you and appreciate you. And you're like I said, you're not on the show so much, but man, we're really thinking about you guys each and every day, and it's a testament to what Alex H and everybody that was involved got this going for you guys, and the 100 crew, just everybody, all of the listeners, wanted to help you guys out in any way possible. We weren't expecting people to donate, $50 or $100. I mean, $1 makes a difference. $5 makes all of that. It's just like a football terminology. Every inch adds up. It's the same thing. Each and every dollar adds up. So I'm just gonna hop right into it here, and you're gonna see a total pop up on the screen. And
going straight to the Cox.
This is going to
from the TTNL.
Yeah, this is going to Ryan and his lovely wife and kids for you guys. Just we want to help out in any way we can. So this is what the final total was.
There it is. Nice. There you go. $3,052.12.
I don't know what to say. That's quite a number. All I can say is thank you to really everybody. I mean, there's lots of thanks to go around. I never expected anything like this. Thank you, both Alexes, for being involved in this. I know you guys both work hard, and you do a lot for the entire network because you love it as much as I do. Wow.
TTNL family, how are we doing this evening? A rare edition on a Thursday night. Who's watching the NBA draft? Who cares? The Lakers got some bum. No one gives a shit anyway, because it's time to talk Bears with Shayne, Cars, and our special guest of the evening. But we'll wait for that. But nonetheless, let's bring the man up himself, the smartest man, Mr. Shayne Marsaw.
Yeah, who's in control now, Jackal? This looks a little bit different, doesn't it?
Kind of feels good.
Yeah, I kind of like this.
I know, huh?
Our TTNL Keepin It 100 looks a little bit different tonight to everybody. Usually my partner in crime comes screaming out of the gates, and we do have a very special message from him to share with everybody, unfortunately, at the beginning of my fucking show, Jackal.
Ain't that the truth?
We're going to roll that right here, though.
I'm the captain now, right, Shayne?
That's right.
Yo, this your boy, Draft Dr. Phil.
All right, so we got Phil's appearance tonight out of the way, everybody. But let's go. We're going to talk about some fucking football tonight, Jackal. So I'm I'm jacked up. We're going to do a little bit different format tonight. We're going to come out hot and heavy with the football. We're going to do one segment, but other than that, it's going to be football all the time. We're not going to do, magic pony tricks or any shit like that. It's going to be football. Chicago Bears are in camp, man. I'm stoked. I'm so excited to get this shit rolling. Couldn't be happier.
2 days in, a lot to talk about. Nagy's doing Nagy things, but Nagy's saying some pretty wild shit too. So I know there's a lot to unpack, a lot to talk about. I know we got some people in the background that love to get on here and chop it up with us. So I don't know what you're planning on doing over there.
We're gonna add this dude. Look at this guy. He usually shows up a little bit late to the party because he usually has family commitments or he's,
Carson's coming on to talk about Leno, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, I without Phil, I said, fuck them kids, and we're just going to do this, live. And I'm gonna take a chance to actually speak in this thing. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. But we played it out there, guys. Last week we had the big raffle to get somebody in here to take over for DDP, sit in on his spot, and there was one winner. So Jackal, I'm gonna bounce you on up out of here. Fuck out of here, Jackal. And Cars, we're gonna have our new partner in crime. He's a little bit taller than the other guy that we deal with.
So he's not sitting on the phone book right now? Okay, that's good to know.
We put in some new requirements here at TTNL. So yeah, you have to be at least this tall to TTNL. So that's not a good sign for Philatoshin. But yeah, we're gonna bring in our boy here. Just gonna let him take a drink there, not catch him there. But Josh E, what's up, buddy?
Welcome.
What's going on, brothers? Good to be here. Holy cow. How's it going, man?
Yeah, it's going good, bro. We got you a nice little overlay here that I'm trying to hook up there for you. But yeah, this is what it's going to pretty much look like tonight, guys. Josh and I haven't been able to talk to him on the phone too much since we've been here at TTNL, but we've done it a little bit this week, trying to work some kinks out. I think he's all ready to go, and
everything's
excited.
Looking good.
And
happy birthday to you, by the way. Happy birthday,
thanks,
Shayne.
man. Another year older. You know how that goes. But yeah, we had a good time. It's been kind of a crazy, stressful week around here in the Marsaw household, but I'm not going to get into that because we're going to talk about some football. But
hold on, Shayne. First, though, when does the older and wiser part kick in? Because I haven't hit that wiser part yet. I
don't know if it ever
has that hit yet. I'm just trying to
I don't know,
myself
dude.
Here.
Phil's like 5 years older than we are. Cars 6 years older, 10 years older, and it hasn't kicked in for him yet. So I think we got a little ways to go. Josh, how old are you, man?
47.
Okay,
but you share the same birthday with Sweetness, right?
Yes, I do. I was destined to be a Bears fan from the jump. Me and Sean Sierra both were the 725 crew. Yeah, so we do share it with Sweetness. But I want to jump right into this, guys. Enough with the niceties and kissing ass. I want to talk about some football. This NFL offseason for Chicago started off crazy. Started with the Andy Dalton. We had the visions of a Russell Wilson trade. Everybody wanted Deshaun before he went to the masseuse, the masseuse
feels
avenue.
Like an age ago, doesn't
it?
Like
it does.
We were standing for Russ for the longest time. Like, this is going to happen. This is going to happen.
Absolutely. And it's things worked out. I don't think I've ever been more excited or more nervous for an NFL draft because Cars, we talked about it. I know Josh wasn't on the show with us, but we talked about it for weeks that the Bears had one option. I'm not going to say they had one option at quarterback, but they only had one position that they could address, really. They made it done. They brought in Justin Fields. Once he got here, it made the Andy Dalton signing make a little bit more sense. And to keep things honest, we broke it down here at TTNL, and I think Andy gets more of a bad rap than he actually deserves. Cars, I don't know if you agree with that. I don't think he's going to come in here and light things on fire, but he's a steady presence. He knows what his role is here. Mike Glennon just wasn't a good football player. Mike Glennon came here thinking that this is my team. This is my shot. Andy's not a dummy. Is he gonna
He's solid.
Is he going to go out and throw 35 touchdowns? No, I don't think so. But
you got to remember when he started at the Bengals, right? Like how bad of a franchise they really were, right? Like they were a laughing stock year in, year out, horrible drafts, everything. And really when he took over, I mean, for his first 5 years, they had a winning season every year. So Chubbs is not wrong in saying, right, like he's not going to be this amazing quarterback or anything that.
He's a steady presence.
He's an upgrade over everything we've had the last 2 years. And you're seeing it in the reports of just there's been an avenue that's been missing on timing, right? Like throwing guys open instead of waiting for them to stop, set, and be open. That's why there isn't so much yards after the catch for A-Rob and some of the tight ends. So for that to be a play now, absolutely. It's a huge upgrade. It's not going to stop Justin Fields from coming on when he's ready, but it's way better than having this with a Foles or a Glennon or a Trubisky to hold that clipboard. We're in a much better place than we have been. Both of those things can be true. Yeah.
I mean, I can't wait to see Justin Fields. I mean, he is the greatest athlete I think the Bears have drafted since Sweetness. I mean, if you think about it.
That's
You know, I mean, and he's also been through the ringer since like high school. He's been on reality shows. He was on The Contender, QB1, Elite 11. I just saw the Welcome to the NFL rookies. I mean, he's been under a microscope his whole career.
Yeah, when he comes out and says I'm built for this, he's not bullshitting. It's been his entire life. And to me, the separator with Justin Fields is sometimes you hear a lot of speak like, oh, this guy is super talented and he has a rival. He's had a rival all the way through high school, and it's the guy that went number 1 overall to Jacksonville, and Trevor Lawrence. The thing about it is he lost to Trevor Lawrence the year before he came back and beat Trevor Lawrence. He was the MVP in the Elite 11.
Crushed Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, exactly. And he stepped up to the challenge. And listen, I'm as big a Chicago Bears fan as anybody, but for the life of me, I will never understand New York passing up on Justin Fields at number 2, because when he says that he's made for this, he's made for it in New York also, with that media scrutiny, with that he could have come in, and I am so thankful that they didn't do it. But I mean, you just saw their guy sign today, and he was behind the 8 ball when they drafted him. Now you
saw him when he was on stage, right, with the other top 10 draft picks.
Oh yeah, it was so uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable around those guys, right? And you can obviously make statements about BYU and what that is, right? But he did not look up to that moment, and that was before he threw his first interception. Like you watch that, and what happens after a Mark Sanchez like butt fumble or something like that? Like what happens to him? And then you throw over the top his mom and just how hated she can be by folks. Like it is not a good recipe for them. And so absolutely, like there's multiple layers to this. It doesn't mean that he's going to be a bust, although I think we both agree that he's going to be a bust. But it doesn't bode well for him going forward.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think everybody, listen, you have to be talented. You have to be able to release the ball with different arm angles. But I think there's a certain that is only going to get you so far. I think everybody sees that, and immediately, and fans especially, we break all of this down. And I'm not going to lie, there is some throws that he makes, and you're like, holy shit, that is impressive. There was a throw yesterday from Patrick Mahomes, Cars. I shared it with you in a tweet. It's just I must have watched it 35 fucking times, and it's a no look pass, and he threads it just hits
just over the outstretched hand,
hits it in stride. And I mean, those are the things that people fall in love with. It's it's appealing to anybody, but this kid is not going to step in to that situation in this city of New York. It's just different. I realize they're in New Jersey, but it's just different. He's going to go from BYU, where they have 1 or 2 beat guys on the covering the Cougars, and he's going to go to New York where it's going to be 40 guys and they're out for blood. It's much like Chicago, but I feel so much more confident with you can't tell me that if you remove the names, the quarterbacks the Chicago Bears have had previously, and you put Justin Fields up there just in a press conference setting, it's night and day different, night and day, because he commands a presence without saying anything.
He's an alpha. He's an alpha.
They'll ask him to break down a play, and he's not going to give you the bullshit speak of, oh, I'm going to have to go back and watch the tape. Maybe at some point he'll do that, but he recycles that information and just spits it out. This is what I saw. I saw the safety cheating over. This is why I went here. He baited me on that, and I threw the interception. He's gonna own up to it right there, and that's a big part of being an NFL quarterback is owning it, not turning the fucking TV off and running away from it and wondering if mom's got the macaroni and cheese warmed up in the microwave for you when you get home.
Meatloaf.
Yeah, the meatloaf.
But he's got Dalton too. You got to look back at what Montgomery said today, right?
Yeah.
Where he said, I've been asking Andy Dalton so many questions, you'd think I was the feds, right? And Dalton has looked at this differently, where he's got a lot of pride and he's not going to just let Fields take it, but he knows, right? I'm the bridge. I'm here for a year. I can go ahead and use this to make myself more money, but I'm also going to help this kid out. And so those things in a locker room, because he's, Andy is a good leader too. He's gotten good folks to get around him, right? He brings people up, and he knows he's comfortable enough in his own ability and with what's going on to know that he's going to hand the mantle off. And until then, he's going to do everything he can to impart as much knowledge on this kid as possible.
Yeah.
And it's a proper locker room for him. So
he's going to soak it up like a sponge.
Yes, absolutely.
This kid is laser focused. I've never seen such a wise man before his years.
Yeah,
he's very mature for his age.
Andy knows that if he goes out and shows any sort of let's be honest, he's going to be the starting quarterback in Green Bay next year. I mean, we can all agree on that, right?
No, Jordan Love looks so good that the Packers basically traded for Randall Cobb to pay him $5 million just so they wouldn't have to pay him. So I mean, obviously Jordan Love is going to be amazing and a Hall of Fame, just like the other two guys.
No. I think the tides have turned. I think after a couple of years, Aaron Rodgers has gone out of Green Bay, and it's over. And we're going to ride Justin Fields.
Yeah, that's the thing. And this is the thing. Hey, you're never higher on a player than you are during the offseason, especially with where our offseason started. Now it's up to these guys to go out. Listen, Matt Nagy is going to sink or swim 100% this season. I mean, it's if you go out and there's going to be some major play calling issues, or you don't see what you're expecting to see in Justin Fields, that spotlight is going to shift right to Matt Nagy's bald head once again. I, for one, don't think, and I know lots of people don't agree. I know Cap agrees because we've had him on here talking about it. Cars, I know you're in the same boat. I don't think he's on a short leash, but if they go out there and you don't see the expected development and the arrow pointing way up with Justin Fields, that's going to, by the end of the year, that's going to shorten that leash quite a bit, I think.
Well, and they finally look. There's issues with Nagy's play calling. I don't want to minimize that, but we had a limited quarterback. We had a limited offensive line for the first. After the Trey Burton first year, right? We took a massive step back because we had 0 out of the tight end position the next year, and the wide receivers never stepped up. And we didn't draft those players, right? So we, for the first time, we're probably the deepest on the offense that we've been. We by far have the best offensive line that we've had. I think the move with Anthony Miller to move him out and actually start getting Allen Robinson some more slot plays and some more slot snaps, I think is the perfect situation for him, because he's not fast, but he's such a good route runner. He's so good at finding those open spaces in the zones. Yes, there are questions that we have, and the proof's going to be in the pudding, but they finally have it's more talented offensive roster than they've had probably since the Trestman era. And if you look at that, you draft or you sign a head coach who's supposed to be an offensive guru. You give him, Mitch Trubisky for whatever that was, but you don't like. Why did we start Leno? Because he was the best of what we had at left tackle, and his salary somewhat dictated that. And that's not necessarily on Nagy. That is on Pace, and Pace finally started to right some of those wrongs. And so now, I think now is when you get the true evaluation of everybody, from Ryan Pace, from Matt Nagy, down to Castillo, down to Mike Furry, right? Down the tight ends coach who's escaping me right now, right? Like all these different guys,
Barone.
you're going to thank you, Barone, Clancy. You're going to see all these guys finally show what they're truly capable of. And then we know, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be this like what if. No, you've got a quarterback in Dalton who's better. You've got higher ceiling. You've got all these things that line up. Mooney in his second year, Goodwin, who we keep hearing all these great things about this camp and his speed. Like they've added speed for the first time, and it's really exciting to be like, I want to watch preseason football. This is unusual for me. I want to watch preseason football to watch all these young kids and what they do.
No,
and the running back room is completely.
Yep.
Damian Williams is really understated.
Well, he's got to be because Grody brought it up today. Tariq Cohen is still limping around the practice field. I mean,
he was never a running back.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming back soon.
No, he's done for the year.
Yeah, if he's not done for the year, he's definitely going to start the season on PUP, and that's going to put him out, still around mid-season. Because I think like week 6, they can come back and start practicing, and then there's like a 21-day window.
It's between like week 8 and 9.
So Herbert, Williams, those guys are going to step right in.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But I mean, you're talking, what is he, 10 months removed from an ACL? And that's the thing, these guys aren't all Adrian Peterson, and most fans think that they should be. It's what hurts Tariq so much is Adrian Peterson was fast. He was shifty. He had the complete package. Tariq's entire game is built off short area burst and explosiveness. That's when people try to compare him to Tariq Hill. There's no comparison there. If you put those guys in a straight line, Tariq would look like he's running in reverse compared to Tariq Hill, and it's just they're two fundamentally different.
It's trying
players.
Too hard.
Yeah, it is. It's you're hoping that's who he is, and he's just not. And this is, I know, Berlissimo put a tweet out there congratulating Tariq on his announcement of him and his fiance are having a baby boy. And I'm keeping it 100, like the name of the show. To me, right there, Tariq Cohen's not in shape.
No,
you can see it in his face. He's never been that big.
No,
and again, one of the worst things that you can do coming off an ACL injury is to be out of shape. And it's not a good sign. And these are the underrated things that you see that a lot of people don't focus on. This guy got a contract extension that nobody was expecting. He got some guaranteed money. Now, listen, the guy has been through hell and back this offseason. His twin brother, was killed in a horrific style. I can't imagine. So, thoughts and prayers are with that entire family. But at the same time, his work ethic and his talent got him here. Just because you're paid doesn't doesn't make you who you are as an NFL player. Tariq hasn't made it yet. I'm still stunned that they paid this guy, especially
he peaked in 2018, right? Like he got paid off of that season. Yep. And again, you go, Josh, to your point about the deeper running back room. For the last 3 years, we've counted on him to be running back number 2, and he's not.
No,
right? And then we had Patterson there when he went down as running back number 2. That's not, again, those are not those roles. So now you slot in a Damian, you have a Khalil Herbert, you have 1, 2, 3 at quarterback, 1, 2, 3 at running back. Now it's going to allow you to do a lot of those things because you can't, unless you're a crazy physical specimen, right? Yeah. Those days of 300 plus carries for running backs are come and gone. I think 2 of them had 300 carries last year, and one of them just happens to be the most physical specimen you'll see in the NFL these days, right? So those guys are done. So if you want to run the ball, you have to go two backs. You have to be able to consistently go two backs. And with Cohen, you were kind of having to change the run plays and the run scheme and everything that you're doing because he's not the same guy. He won't run between the tackles. He's just not doing the stuff that he would. And so that's another part.
He will if he's motivated by somebody putting their hand over top of his head. And it shouldn't take that for him to get there to that point. He's had to, let's be honest, he's an undersized guy and that was always going to be against him. But that's what makes these guys hungry. That's what drives them in Pee-wee football to high school to college and then on into the NFL. And Tariq needs to run with that intensity every time he touches the football. And you can see it that he just hasn't. He's got that magnet mentality to the sideline. And teams know that, guys. This is the fucking NFL. People come, they splash on the scene. And this is the thing, too. Chicago has been so starved for an explosive, big-time NFL playmaker that guys like Tariq Cohen get severely overrated in my book because he'll make a splash play and then it's holy shit, that was fast. He cut back. Did you see that? This dude's Tariq Hill. That's where that shit comes from. Chicago, it's just like do you guys remember the fervor in the city when in the Tampa game when Mitch went out and threw 6 touchdowns? It's like, fuck, we're on our way. And the Bears did play well, but you could see the second half of that season, really. Cars, and you were one of the first guys on it, and I know Phil was too. You could see the deficiencies in the fucking offense and where it was trending that year. They would have some games where they would break out of it, but
the deep ball went away, right? That was it. When teams started to learn, like, just keep everybody in front of us. They don't have a true speed threat outside of Gabriel. And if you just keep everything, you just shadow him deep and keep everything up front and make them be accurate and timing. It was gone. That game was that Tampa game was the best that we saw that offense. And, it kind of went downhill almost right away after that. It was pretty brutal to see kind of how that went.
Yeah. And what was a big separator? This offense, it's vital to have a guy that can make plays at the tight end position.
Huge.
And downfield, you know what I mean? Make big plays. And do you remember Trey Burton running free in that game? I think that might have been maybe the first or second touchdown that Mitch threw that game. Not saying, I was always a big Trey Burton fan.
Yep.
And it just, it started to trend downhill with him after, another guy that got paid. He showed some signs, but it's vital to this offense to get it going, much like we're going to get into the other side of the ball a little bit later, but you've heard me talk about it time and time again. Eddie Goldman not being on this team that can't be undersold. And that's part of the tight end. And I look back now, and to me, that is why I think Chicago did what they did last year. They saw some traits that they loved in Cole Kmet, and I think that they essentially said to themselves, if we fucking wait, we're not going to have a chance for this guy, later in the draft. And you could see, I think the next tight end went, what was it, round 5?
No, you're right. It was 3
the
rounds
kid,
later.
Bryson Hopkins, I believe. Wasn't he the next guy that went in like round 5 or something like that?
It was
maybe the Rams.
Ridiculous.
It was crazy, but yeah, Josh is a great point with this running back room, man, because it's listen, if they're going to, I honestly, obviously, they brought Andy Dalton in here for a reason. He's not the savior. He's a steady influence, and I think honestly he's going to be a little bit of the battering ram that's going to go out there and take the lumps while this offensive line gels, and that's where they're going to count on this deep running back room. And you don't forget I always forget the guy's name, but one of their first UDFAs that they brought in, who's the guy I'm blanking on, Cars, that they brought in?
Marable?
Yeah, CJ Marable. That's a guy that's probably not going to make the 53, but I'll bet you money he's
Practice
on.
squad.
Yeah, he's on the practice
Oh, yeah.
squad, and they're going to keep a stable of backs ready to go. So when we get to the point where they want to usher in Justin Fields' era, and that's another thing we need to talk about. Are you guys, Matt Nagy did not close that door.
He reopened it, actually.
He did. I totally agree.
No,
so talk about that real quick, Josh. What are your expectations? And I don't want to hear what you want. What do you think is going to happen at the quarterback position in week 1 Sunday Night Football when we're in LA?
I think Dalton will start, but it's really going to depend on the training camp. So, I mean, if he's not ready, we're all going to know it. I mean, the writers are going to say it. Everybody, the teammates are going to say it. So I really think that what's going to happen is, practice will dictate if he's ready. I mean, this guy has been through the ringer before. He's been through the national championship games. I mean, he's a leader. He's got everything we want, but we just don't want to stunt his development because that would be the worst possible scenario for the Bears, moving forward. So I think, this training camp will dictate if he's going to be ready or not. I mean, I think he has a lot more experience than Mitch, and Mitch came in weeks, what was it? I can't remember, 8 or
no,
can't remember that.
No, it was 6. I think it was
6.
It was very early.
And he had 14 starts in college.
I think wasn't it after week 4 and then didn't they have a bye week?
A bye?
Is that what it was?
That might have been. Yeah, because it was it was the Minnesota game, wasn't it, that it was his first one?
It might have been. All I remember from that game is you were on the verge of losing the locker room if you didn't make the quarterback change because Akeem Hicks pretty much just this fucking dude needs to.
It was week 5 against Minnesota.
Well, it was Glennon too, right? So I mean, that wasn't much of an improvement. But I mean, I think Justin Fields is way ahead of Mitch.
Oh,
I mean,
easily.
He could start week 1, but do we really want to? I mean, that's why training camp will dictate if he's ready or not.
Well, that's my thing. Listen, it's if he's ready to play and they have confidence in him to play. If I'm the fucking head coach, he's gonna fucking play. That's the thing. I don't know if the Chicago Bears franchise is that forward thinking with this. I think that they're a slow play. We'll let things play out.
Well,
we'll
it's the
build this
Tevin
up
Jenkins
a little bit.
development, right? I mean, let's Tevin covering the blind side as a first guy of a guy who played right tackle, solely basically in college. They want him to figure it out, I think, before they switch it over, right? They want to. The one thing you don't want is Charles Leno starting at your left tackle for a rookie quarterback and being completely uncertain as to how he's going to do and whether he's going to finish blocks. So I think they're going to slow play it in that regards, but I think it's tied into Tevin way more than it's tied into Justin. And from all reports, we'll let it go, but I want to talk a little bit about that Nagy press conference the other day because.
Well, let's just transition right there. We'll bring up the presser after this. I want to switch to the offensive line because I think that this is something that's piquing my interest a little bit. These are big human beings, and when you're talking about any type of back stiffness, any type of back issue with a large human like an offensive lineman, it's not just run of the mill, and hopefully it's an everyday soreness thing and just him transitioning. Because we've lived this, way
Chris
back
Williams
when
era.
Chris Williams, his first, that he was medical red flagged by
Every
ton
other
of teams. Fucking Bears went out and drafted him in the first round, and he lasted 15 minutes into his first NFL training camp practice, and he had to have back surgery, and he was out for the season. And I said, that's typical Chicago Bears. I'm not saying we're there right now with Tevin Jenkins, but man, you heard Nagy say he tweaked it during rookie camp, I believe. And I don't know, man, it sends up some huge issues for me because Elijah Wilkinson is your
No.
dude behind
Not
there,
the
and
answer.
No.
if he's getting any reps as your starting left tackle, well, Justin, here you go, bro. Have a seat over here. You can set that in stone because, like you said, Cars. I think a lot of these guys, they're attached at the hip.
Yeah, I'm not so worried about it early, right? Because I think we've seen that this is a franchise that plays it very cautious early because their whole thing is I want everybody healthy at the end. So they ease into this a lot more. I mean, like if next week we're still having this conversation, obviously that starts to change a little bit. But I'm not really I'm not really worried about Tevin. I'm probably more worried about Affetti, but I'm also excited about Borum. So I think,
How nice is it to have a prospect behind your starter like that you're excited about, and that's something that doesn't happen. Do you remember the days way back? You look at a guy like Marcus Robinson would come, smash on the scene, and then he had another guy that had back issues, and he was gone, and then it was a bunch of nobodies there. And this is somebody. It might have been our guy HL Priest brought up earlier in the chat. I think I saw it. So if it wasn't him, I'm sorry for
just give
whoever I'm
HL.
forgetting
He's
there.
always here, so
Yeah,
he
we'll
gets
give
some
it to
credit.
HL,
Yeah.
but it's this roster nationally and with just a lot of the fan base, in the NFL, to me is they're underwriting it. And they talk about this team. I think the Bears got ranked 27th or 28th
Yes.
in the NFL. And I'm like, so they got that. I know they backdoored into the playoffs, but still, yeah, they were in the fucking playoffs with the mess that they had at quarterback, with them bouncing around the play caller all over the place, the constant flux that the offensive line was in. And why was that? It's because the roster is actually got a lot of very good players, and nobody ever talks about
exterior.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that people don't talk about. And you get guys like Peter Bukowski out there that says, you take Aaron Rodgers off this team, there's the Green Bay Packers roster is still Super Bowl ready. No, guess what, dickhead? They didn't go to the fucking Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers and haven't since whatever year it was.
For Randall Cobb just to get Aaron Rodgers back, right?
Yeah.
Like
$10 million.
They have to pay 5 of it because Texans pay some of it, but like they had to make this move to get Aaron Rodgers to come back. They had to make like consolations. If anybody read what it is on his contract right now, like they can't come after him for money if he retires or holds out next year, right? Like they gave him pretty much everything he wanted to come back. So that tells you, Shayne, to your point, they don't believe in this roster outside of him. And that's,
Totally
again,
agree.
that's it's awfully telling.
Circling back to the offensive line, what do you guys think about James Daniels coming back? It's going to be huge.
He's
the key.
He's the key, and the thing about it is James is no dummy. James is a guy that came in, with Roquan, and both of these guys are heavily invested in their NFL futures because they can get this is the fuck you money portion of their career. This is where they can get the big fucking paydays. Roquan, I always have to laugh if these fucking beat guys are like, oh, Roquan's the only starter that wasn't, or the only defensive starter that was present for these mini camps. Well, you goddamn right he was, because he's fucking smart. He knows if he's there and putting in the fucking work, he's going to get paid. He should get paid anyway. James Daniels is another. And listen, these fucking offensive lineman contracts are fucking shooting up through the
right
roof.
Tackle market
it's
crazy.
crazy.
Is now up because in this day and age you kind of need it's not my pass protector all pro is left tackle and my road grader guy is right tackle. Like you need 2 of those now, and it's hard enough to find one. So and guards as well, right? Like you've seen it with a bunch of the guys for the Patriots, whether it's Tooney and how much money he's made. There's good money there hidden him solidifying the guard position. I know Chubbs was talking about center. I think he feels more comfortable naturally as a guard because I don't think he likes someone directly in front of him. I think that's
and I think a lot of it came down to two cars, as Olin pointed it out, and I think it's a big part of what we never think about when we're analyzing guys on tape is sometimes these guys aren't comfortable in a leadership position and calling out the fucking the middle linebacker. They just don't listen, it's not for everybody, and the NFL is a different fucking game. And you take that added responsibility off of his plate, push him to the side, whether it was to the left guard or to the right guard, just so he can concentrate on what his assignment is. And you saw the kid flourish. And I mean, there was a time last year before he tore his pec. It wasn't even close who was the best offensive lineman on this team. And he is still ridiculous. He's still only 23, I think.
23. Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
And he's working, and this is a guy that if he shows that he's ready to go, I can easily see him being the guy that gets the Eddie Goldman training camp contract extension. Yep. You know, the Akeem Hicks got it. The Bears did it with Forte years ago. You see Ryan Pace like to hand out those extensions going into the season for some of these guys. And Roquan Smith and James Daniels are first and foremost. To me, I don't want to jump to defense yet, but I have a fear that Roquan's deal could be a little bit more acrimonious than anybody's thinking, because if you remember back to the details in his rookie contract, he was quite a long holdout in the CBA when it was built for prospects not to have holdouts.
I think he's waiting to see Darius Leonard's contract, which I think should be, by all accounts, bigger than Warner's. And I think that's where he's going. And I think you're absolutely right. Like, that one makes me, kudos to him this time, because to your point, he was the only one at camps and stuff doing it the right way. But yeah, he's gonna get paid. He's not gonna leave $1 on the table. And let's be honest, with how short these NFL careers are, he shouldn't either, right? Like, if this is your maximum and this is where you're going to do the most, like, go drain every dollar out of this, because, in 2 years or 3 years, you could be sitting there going, you could be like Xavier Howard and wanting a redone deal, and teams will not work with you. You under meet your expectations, or you don't meet your expectations, they cut you and try to redo your salary. You exceed what they expect from you, they don't want to touch your contract at all, because now you're a bargain, right? And so go get every dollar while you can.
So before we move on here, Josh, I know you won the raffle, and you had a guy that I think everybody knows that you wanted to bring on here.
Oh, yeah.
For a quick spot to talk a little football and see what else. So
I have something can I do the intro?
Yeah, go ahead. That was your cue,
this
man.
This is actually Cameron.
You knew what this was?
Yeah, man. This is this is my show now, right? Now this is written by Cameron, so he wanted to come on and give it, but I'll go ahead and read it. And before the man comes on, okay? Roll some music, Jackal. Throw some funny shit up there. Let's go. Is Jackal even here anymore?
Yeah, he's in the background. He's
doing meth.
Yeah, he's
cooking
doing
meth again. Yeah. All right. Okay, here it is. Finally, the time has come.
That wasn't even me, so I can't get clipped for that one.
That was good. Finally, the time has come for the long-awaited debut of our very special member of the TTNL family. We have never seen his face, but today emerges from the shadows. He was raised in Libertyville, Illinois, and went on to serve our country in the U.S. Army. Today, this man is a great father, husband, loyal charter member of the TTNL community. He has made all of us family. His passion is unmistakable. His love and generosity to all of us is beyond words. He is the very heart of this amazing TTNL family and one of the founding fathers of the Hundo crew. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, TTNL family members of all ages, TTNL, the Tape Never Lies Network, proudly gives you live and in living color, all the way from the Philippines. Put your hands together for Logan Frost, baby. Woo!
All right.
There he is.
Logan, I'm
This is
sorry.
bullshit. Yeah.
I'm sorry that Josh is butchering that fucking intro like that, bro. We'll be sure to not have him back on to intro people. Look how red his face is. Look how red his face is.
Does this work even?
Yeah, it's working. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Well, hey.
Thanks.
There he is.
Is that what you got, man?
That's it?
All right.
No,
Thanks for coming.
no. I just been fans with you guys before when you guys were in the bar room.
I've never heard of it. Is that place new?
They have zero. They have as many followers as someone else. Anyway.
Yeah. I just the work you guys have done over the years for us Bear fans has been pretty impressive. I thought I was a knowledgeable fan myself, and just to hear the load of experience that you guys. I watch as much Bears fans as anyone else. I'm a season ticket holder. I love them to death. I flew 9,000 miles for the NFC Championship game. I have another crazy story. But just everything that you bring for us out here is unbelievable. So I appreciate you, Cars, and Shayne and Josh. Those are the most important here, and I guess Jack.
Yeah.
And Cherie.
Fuck Jack.
You can't leave Cherie out because that's his
I
bad
think that's
form.
everyone. I think those. I got all the main ones. Right there.
Yeah, that's right. That's the only ones that count, man. You hit it. You hit it from Jump Street, absolutely. But no, man, Logan, we're glad to have you on, and we appreciate the kind words because it's been a year since we ended our association with where we came from, and it was actually on my birthday in 2020, July 25th, 2020, when it became official that we were no longer business associates, I guess you could say. But it's a labor of love. Phil and I and Cars have been real close for a real long time, and Cars knows how serious we take this. Sometimes people probably think we take it a little bit too serious, but I think that's what makes the product that we put out is that I've said this a million times, man. We all have full-time jobs. We all have families and everything that comes with that. And we do this on top of it, not to, stroke ourselves too much, but it is a lot of work, but we love it. And we love the, talking with you guys, having people like you on, Logan. It's exactly what we built this network on, because we wanted to be highly interactive with the fans. We wanted to include people. And like I said, just like what we did last week, our last show with Where We Came From was raising $4,000 for kids with cancer last year. And we opened up essentially this new season and almost got to that number with the Cox family. And it's a testament to the people that listen each and every week, because man, the loyal fan base that is here each and every week with everything that we do. I mean, we rolled out our One Up Fantasy show that Jackal's a part of, and Steven Johnson. The show out for that has been great, and we couldn't do it without guys like you, Logan, without guys like you, Josh. Jackal started as a listener. I know Caden is in the background here too. Great job tonight, Caden, on your open. But it's a testament to, it's not just what we do. It's you guys are just as important. So thank you.
No, you're welcome, I guess. But the whole idea is when we started last season, we were 5-1. I think we all felt the same way, where we just didn't feel like it was a 5-1 team.
Yeah. And
the previous year, 2019, was probably in my lifetime the biggest letdown of any season I've ever had.
Yeah.
I had such high hopes, and last year, us knowing we weren't the team that was on the record where we were in the standings, the TTNL network was therapy. It was what everyone knew, us true fans, not just watching and going, oh, you guys are in first place, everything's great. But us true fans knew, hey, something's really off here. It's not looking good. And we're barely coming through these games. I mean, the stress I had during those games,
Yeah.
You know, I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital twice. My heart was gonna give out. So, I mean, and that's not the way it was supposed to be. You know, I mean, we were supposed to have an offensive guru come in. You know, I don't know if you guys know, but I've been a big defender of Mitch because I believe he should have been put in situations to win, and he wasn't. And if you look at his 2-minute offense when he doesn't have to think,
Right.
he does pretty well. He does really well when he doesn't have to think. Go back and look at the games where we needed to come down the field quickly. He could do it.
Yeah.
But the idea is if Lamar Jackson had been drafted by the Bears and Nagy came in, he'd be a bust in my opinion. He didn't. Harbaugh knew to put him in situation. You remember after that playoff game where everyone said, "Oh, you got where the Ravens lost." They said, "Hey, Lamar's got a good running back." That's what they used to. They were like, "Oh, you got a good running back. Well, what are you gonna do about QB?" And then what does he do?
Yeah.
He goes out next year and wins the MVP. So if Harbaugh could have done it with a QB that needed development, it could have been done. And you know, Loki said it the best. You know, a couple months ago, almost like 8 months ago, he said the first thing he said when he came on the show was, "It doesn't matter who our QB is, as long as Nagy's here. I don't have a lot of faith. I really don't. I mean, hopefully he can get some things done, but I don't want him to ruin this kid. I don't want this kid put into pressure to save someone's job. I don't want he's built for this. I agree 100%.
Yep.
But to put that pressure where you're trying to save, Nagy's a friend coach, trying to save a friend's job or do something, that's extra pressure you don't need. So we'll see where that goes.
I think where I would push back a little bit on that, Logan, is, Nagy was brought here, and I don't think he would ever admit this, but I think I've said it 100 times on this show, and it always sticks out to me. And they caught him on the sidelines up in Mitch's face saying, "Man the fuck up." Just like, how many fucking times? Dude, just fucking don't overthink. Just go fucking play, Mitch. And to me, listen, Nagy's got some issues that I'm not happy with. At the same time, if he's going to be here, I think you have to give him his young quarterback. And people point to, well, Nick Foles was that guy. Nick Foles was never
He was
Matt
the one that
Nagy's,
was available.
Right. He was the fucking dude that was the dude that was available. I think yeah, well, exactly. And I would have never made that trade. Obviously, we talked about it ad nauseum here, but I think you have to give him the rope to see what he does. And you're talking about Matt Nagy. You don't want him to ruin Justin Fields. And I'll tell you, the difference is going to be, like, we talk about Matt Nagy's leash not being quite as short as most people are saying.
I agree with
Justin Fields has got a much longer leash. Justin Fields is going to be here longer than, if this doesn't work out for Matt Nagy, Justin Fields is going to be here longer than Matt Nagy is, just because of, first round pick draft. It's going to be 5 years. You saw it with Mitch. And here's the big separator with me too, Logan, with Mitch. I wanted to believe in Mitch. I don't think Mitch had the right killer mentality for the position on and off the field. You guys always heard me talk about it. And listen, if as a Mitch supporter, Logan, if you and I were debating this issue and I came up and I said, all right, this guy's a free agent, anybody can fucking sign him, and he signs for $2.5 million in Buffalo, how do you defend? What does that tell you?
Tells me he was never developed. It tells me that a coach didn't take a raw talent and do the proper things. Make short passes, get him comfortable, move him out of the pocket, which is what he was good at. That's what it tells me. It tells me that, yes, a lot of the league said we're going to pass on this guy, but it also tells me that this head coach couldn't develop a young quarterback that we knew, keep in mind,
right,
when he was drafted, it was a project from the beginning. We all knew it was, hey, it's going to be 3 years, 4 years. And, he starts game 5 in Minnesota, which is the correct game. And then, he plays most of 2018 and was pretty good, pretty effective. And I think the offense was pretty good up in that Detroit game at home in 2018, I think, was when the offense was even better than that Tampa game. I think that's when it was clicking on all cylinders.
But do you think that people in the NFL look at him as not being developed and they're scared to try to develop? I don't see that at all because
he's older too, right? But you're right.
I think he's cashed out up here.
I think he has been from the start.
I think that's true. That's a good point. He came from small town,
He's
not
been
like Justin
coddled.
Fields.
He's one of those.
Yeah, he
kids
doesn't
that's
have the killer mentality.
Yeah,
He's not an alpha, though.
Matt Waldman talked about it. He's from the land of the entitled, and I don't want to get too much behind the scenes here and give up names, and I know that goes against from what our name is here, Keeping It 100, but we have on very, very, very good authority that Mitch is been continued to be coddled off the field by somebody in his life that's been there the entire time, and literally everything, even down to the fucking car that he drives, has to go through this person. Everything. And I mean, it's just
do tell. This is interesting. I like it.
It would, there are certain things that you can say about young men and who they are tied to the hip more as they grow up, and some can't grow up. And so, Logan, I don't disagree. If it had been just development, Mitch is signing an incentive-laden deal that's worth more than Cam Newton, right? But Cam Newton, for the corpse of Cam Newton, got way more money. And I don't think necessarily you're wrong, right? Lamar Jackson is a great story. But what did Baltimore do? They had Ronnie Stanley. They had a great offensive line. They were able to go they ran 3 tight ends more than anybody in that season. And if you look at Lamar Jackson's kind of next year when he peeled back just slightly, they lost some of the tight ends. So yeah, he had more things to do around. My thing on Nagy has always been he kept putting him in situations where he had to make the read, had to do it. Because even if we coddled to him and did these things, is he going to be your quarterback regardless? I don't think so, because I think you see all the game management.
The big
stuff
thing
he's
is
not
too
doing.
is what did we hear the entire last season is, the Bears are going to fuck up. They're going to let this kid go. He's going to go out west of San Francisco. He's going to go to Pittsburgh. Oh, Bill Belichick's going to start winning Super Bowls again. All of these guys had their – listen, do you think if Bill Belichick was a believer in Mitch Trubisky that he wouldn't have taken a fucking shot on him and invested his first-round draft pick someplace else?
Or paid less money to Cam Newton?
Yeah.
It's –
Cam Newton went from a 1-year, $1 million contract to what are they paying him this year? Like 18 million or 7? Oh, I thought he went up to like 15 or something. Yeah.
There's all sorts of things, but it's like minimally 7.5, I think.
But to me, listen, Mitch is a great dude, and I think he's very, very talented. But I think you have to separate yourself. Logan, you even said it. You knew exactly where I was going. You pointed just like this, and I think that's the separator, because I wasn't even a big believer in the Braggs would always catch the pregame huddles down there in the tunnel, and to me Mitch never even sounded comfortable doing that. It was just like, I'm the quarterback, this is what I'm expected to do.
My speech class and it's presentation for 8th period. Yeah.
So, but it's
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm 100% on board with what you're saying. I just think that there was a lot of missteps along the way.
There were.
A lot. I feel like we wasted a good chance to have a franchise QB, but like you said, you know something I don't know about him being coddled and things like that. So those are interesting facts that I wish maybe off air we can talk about.
It started with John Fox with him, though. Remember, Mitch, they started off as the 3rd string QB in camp. You're not getting snaps. You have him behind Mark Sanchez. He's the number 2 pick overall. You're not even letting it the 3rd string guy. They were saying today, Nick Foles had 5 plays maybe overall. And that's what Mitch was getting in his first training camp. That made absolutely no sense whatsoever. And you're muted, Logan.
Well, that was me. We're getting a little bit of feedback, Logan, from your headphones. We're getting a little bit of an echo. So when you're not talking, I'm just going to mute you we can take it. But yeah. But yeah, I mean, we've covered number 10 enough. Like I said, I think we've all turned the page on that portion of it. But we're Logan, heading into this NFL training camp, if I were to come to you, and it sounds like to you Matt Nagy is your number one concern, but if we keep this just to the roster, where is your number one concern on, I guess give me your number one concern on offense and your number one concern on defense, and just don't go to the coaches. We'll keep it to the players.
Okay. Number one concern on defense is number 39.
Number 4 this year.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Number 4.
39 in our hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to see him return to form. For years I was hyping up this guy, saying he's the best safety in the league, and then he falls off the face of the earth, and it's embarrassing. His tackling, his ball hawk skills don't seem to be there. He had a pick last year that probably shouldn't have been overturned, a pick 6, but it was. Yeah. So I would say Eddie Jackson on defense I'm concerned with, and from the current news, I'd say a Fetty concerns me on the line a little bit, but we have Larry and waiting in the wings, so I'm not too concerned. But those would be my 2.
Yeah, and Josh, what about you? We haven't talked to you about that. If you were to keep it to the the personnel,
my main concern is Jalen Johnson's shoulder. If that goes, we're really thin at corner, and I'm not even happy with our safety. So we really need to shore up our depth at cornerback for sure.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because breaking down Jalen Johnson, we did it last year. The kid's a top 20 talent all day. He dropped for one reason and one reason only, because of the shoulder. And this is another young player. I believe he turned 21 like maybe a week before the draft last year. So he's, just 22 years old right now. And it is a huge concern, because I believe are we pushing like 4 shoulder injuries that he's had?
3 surgeries or things for the shoulder. Absolutely. Yeah.
And the Bears it's a great point, Josh, because the Bears are putting a lot of eggs in number 33's basket, because they, Kyle Fuller moving on. And it seems like they're putting a lot of eggs. Kendall Vildor is a guy that I was high on in the draft. I don't know if it was Cars. Were you not quite as high on him coming out, or am I thinking of somebody else? Maybe it was somebody else, but it's these 2 guys I think are going to be integral to what they do moving forward. What I love about Vildor, just to move off of Jalen just a little bit, is he's got that dog mentality that the Bears need, and you see that in mini camp practices. I've heard that he's the same way in the weight room, and he's doing it at training camp practice. He's not backing down to anybody, and he's up there, and when he makes a play, he tells you about it. But then he's not just living off of that. He's going out the next rep, and he's going out and he's doing it again. And these guys can come out of nowhere. You talk about where Ryan Pace has flourished. I don't think it's any shock.
Bryce Callahan is a prime example of that, right? Absolutely. It's super hard to play corner in college, right? The way that it's completely set up, and most of these coaches have no idea outside of Saban how to coach these guys. So I think that's a very good point, Shayne.
Yeah, and it is. It's the Bears. I don't want to say that the cornerback depth chart is barren. It's not. I think that there's a bunch of talent there, but it's all unproven. And that includes Jalen Johnson. That includes Jalen Johnson, because he's never been the number 1 QB. So
they're counting on the pass rush, right? Yeah. They're counting on 100%. Mack, Quinn, and Gibson to make them look better. Absolutely.
Yep. And I had to laugh. I looked down the one comment that I saw in the chat here is Factor from Deion Bush is my surprise breakout player. I think people have been saying that for 4 or 5 years now, waiting for him. He's had his chances. He's had lots of chances, but he's got to be doing something right for them to continue to bring him back. And to me, I have DHC higher on my board, because that dude showed me a lot last year. He shocked me. He really did shock me. And the Bears weren't scared to put him out there in some of their subsets when he closed out the Tampa game.
Yeah.
He ran the fucking route for the wide receiver and picked that ball off. It was a thing of beauty. And I know Phil was a big DHC guy. Where's that William and Mary he came out of, I believe. And he made his living off of special teams and blocking kicks and punts and stuff like that. But that's what happens in the NFL. These guys, some of them just need a fucking chance. And that's where you can grow as a player when you have a guy like Danny Trevathan and Roquan Smith and Akeem Hicks and Khalil Mack, Eddie Goldman in front of you. That allows you a little bit of latitude behind, to if you make a mistake, maybe you can get it covered up a little bit because these guys are doing a good job in front of you. And that's where I want to transition now real quick. Logan, we'll stay with the pass rushers before we let you go here, but a lot hinges. I love to hear Khalil Mack say, everybody knows that he was banged up, and I know a lot of fans that aren't into this as much as we are. They go right to the stats and see, oh, he didn't have 18 and a half sacks, so he had a shitty year. And I don't know what else to tell people that think that, other than you don't know what the fuck you're looking at.
Honestly. I really liked how Max said, "I'll show you rather than I'll tell you."
Yeah, and he didn't make an excuse. Olin Kreutz, listen, players aren't dumb. Olin Kreutz liked his one comment because he's like, "Hey guys, injuries aren't an excuse for me. If I'm out there, I'm 100%." Well, we know that that's not true, but that's the fucking mentality that he wants to put out there, and that's what you want from your fucking leader. But Robert Quinn, man, if they can get and it's you hear him with the back issue and them gonna ease him back in. That if they can get him cranked up to what he could be, that's gonna make Jalen Johnson better. That's gonna make Kendall Vildor better. Chubbs brought up Thomas Graham is very underrated. A guy that I thought could have went, third. I had him as like a third round guy. Yeah, exactly. You get this pass rush cranked up, it makes everybody's life so much easier. And Logan, to your point, number 39, number 4, that's gonna make him take the ball away and make some big plays in that back end. And you get some competency at quarterback, and you're putting 6s up on the scoreboard on defense. That makes Matt Nagy a better coach. That makes your offensive line better, and it's just great for your whole team.
I just like the attitude, right? Because like last year, Logan, if you remember, Eddie was saying like, "Oh no, I got no targets. Nobody targeted me. Nobody came at me. Everybody's scared of me." And then the next week, he was terrible. Like they're like, "Okay, we'll come at you, make a tackle," and he couldn't make a tackle, right? And he wasn't making these plays. I'm way more appreciative of these guys. Like, I'm done talking. We're just gonna see what's happened, because after our playoff run, you deserve to talk a little bit, even though you should have won that game. But the 2 seasons afterwards, like, Eddie, you don't have any room to talk. Tariq, you've got no room to talk. You've got to show it now. And it seems like mentally they're all up to that challenge.
I agree. But Logan, man, before we bounce you out of here, I'm real glad.
Yes, thank you for coming on.
Talk to us. I know Jackal wants to, talk to you a little bit. Jackal, he was just ripping one here real quick before I added him here. I could tell this fucking degenerate in the background, but
what are you talking about? I was just reading some fucking books.
Oh, is that what you're doing?
Yeah, dude. That's all I do down here.
Grab me your favorite book out of there, Jackal, right now.
Yeah.
No, the one from behind you.
Right.
The Cat in the Hat.
Oh, yeah. Here. I know, The Last Full Measure. It's a great book in case anyone's never read it.
How many pictures are in that one for you?
Drop the Civil War cards about when you were born. So I figured.
Sweet.
You old man. No, but Logan, how you doing?
Hide some F in the books, huh?
I cut out just certain sections so I can stick a few rocks in there and then get after it. Goddamn Jim Larrinson. But Logan, I just happen to see your beautiful face, man. You're as handsome as you sound in the internet chat room. So, it's nice to finally put a face to the name, dude.
Yeah.
Somebody grab that for an audio clip, please.
Yeah, we will.
Good to see you, Logan, bro.
We're gonna cut that.
Right on, Josh. Right on.
But so, Logan, man, thanks for stopping in and talking to us. I know some people are It's just the echo from smaller headphones. It's all good.
No,
but
it's this shitty mic. I had a Bluetooth all set up. And I don't know, fucking
it's all good. But
it's all good.
Thanks,
one
bro.
thing I'd like to say before.
Go ahead.
For the 100 crew, I want to shout out, everyone that's in it, and for that, Alex told us that he's like, hey, there's 10 of the original guys in the 100 crew. I'm like, okay. When you actually count, there's 12, buddy. I mean, you got to do your math a little bit better, okay? So
it's Canadian math.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like that Canadian raffle.
So I'm gonna shout out the actual 12 that are there, and like you said, they're in alphabetical order. So just want to let you know that that's a special place we have there, and it all stemmed from you guys keeping it 100 and the love of the Bear fans, and then we kind of coalesced over there. But for AJ, Bears, Vito and Cigar, Bullets, Miguel, Dre, Gustavo, HL, Josh E, Cameron, myself, Richard Gordon, Rick Riggs, and Alex H. Now that's 12. And to everyone else in the 100 crew, we love you. We appreciate what we all do there. And before I go, the last thing I'm going to say is I just wanted to give a little extra love. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah,
shit.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Oh, you're not gonna keep.
Wow.
You're not gonna set. I bet you don't set that under the table like the Chicago Bears would to display it, right, Logan?
No, and as you see, I got Gale Sayers in the back over there.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I just didn't think he got the props and respect that he should have. The Bears organization has woefully mistreated all of their great players, as Doug Plank said, which and that's the last thing I want to say is the insight that this show gives us, you get nowhere else. Literally nowhere else. I mean, when you brought Doug Plank on, Olin Kreutz, Chris Zorich, the things that they say, Rasheed Davis, the things that they say and tell us are mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And we get an insight that I've got nowhere else. And I've been a diehard Bear fan my whole life. I dressed up like Jim McMahon 3 Halloweens in a row. From 85, 86, 87, my mom was like, you got to change. So I love the Bears that much since I've been a kid. And I just want to say this show is something special. The community is something special. But this show, you guys, Jackal, Shayne, Cars, Cherie, all of you in the background, I think that's everybody.
Yes.
So I just want to say, and Coach O, of course, Coach O, the knowledge on X and
that's right. Still haven't
Coach O.
Yeah. Haven't missed anybody. Good job.
I mean, being able to interact with the show is amazing. Just
and you know what I love?
Interact with each other.
You know what I love most about you, Logan, is that Cubs pennant back there is pointing down, just like that fucking team is. So it fits perfectly.
It's a sad ending. I know. I'm pretty upset about it, but whatever.
Well, you got one.
You got one. Feel bad for Rizzo going to the Yankees, but
yeah, I'll take one.
Show.
I'll take one every 100 years or so.
There you
whatever.
go. Yeah, well.
All right. Well, thanks everyone. Thanks for letting me on. I appreciate the love, and I appreciate just everything. You guys let me be part of the show, and take care, guys. I'll see you.
You're the man, Logan.
Coming out to the Philippines, Logan.
Maybe 2022, I can catch a home game. And see some of you guys there, but till this pandemic's over, who knows? But thanks again, guys.
Stay safe, Logan.
I love you all. I love you all.
Too, man. Thanks,
man.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah, later.
Later, man.
Yeah, man. That's what it's all about, right there. Meeting Jackal. You and I talked a little bit about Logan before. I was on my way home from work and we were talking about it, and you're like, I just want to see this fucking dude. You know what I mean? And that's what it's like. I said, we talked about it a little bit earlier, keeping it interactive with the fans, and we could imagine doing a show and pouring all your time and effort into putting out content and nobody's there to fucking listen. I know there's lots of people that do that, but we don't do that here. And
the tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it. You know?
Ryan Cox calling me out in the chat room. You promised Shade. I couldn't do it, Ryan. Cars made me do it. Cars, the White Sox fan.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but no, it's Logan is he's the real deal, and there's a lot of those guys, man, that are. It's just it makes what we do. I don't want to say it makes it worth it. It just makes what we do a lot easier because
easier.
Yeah, we know we're we know when we hit that live button that a lot of our people are going to show up each and every week. And I mean, Jackal, you experienced it. Talk about before we start talking about football, you know, the Bears again and going into this roster deep like we have been. You debuted the show here with Steven Johnson, One Up Fantasy. So talk about that just a little bit, and you know, let everybody know what night it's going to be on and what you're going to be covering.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Shane. You know, first and foremost, I want to thank all the TTNL heads that showed up on Tuesday night at 9:30 Eastern Standard, or 9:30 Central, sorry, 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. Jesus, you know, I got to get used to saying that. You know, Steven's going to be pissed.
Go ahead.
Hey, you know, when you're on meth, it gets kind of fucked up, but you know, you read things backwards. I don't know, it's weird. But no, nonetheless, I have to say, the TTNL crew showed up. It was amazing. You know, being somebody that's new to this type of, you know, format, platform, talking in front of a camera and, you know, stumbling a few times when you know it's live and you're trying to like find the words and fill in the blanks.
Different when those fucking lights come on, right?
Dude, I forgot Sandy Watkins' name, and I literally, it felt like it was 35 seconds. It was just dead silence.
It was
and
written into your eyes. It was it was my favorite part because you
dude,
like had this.
I was panicking. Like I literally was like, oh fuck, you know. And then finally, once I got out of that, you know, I felt kind of comfortable. Steven is like the Rain Man of fantasy, so he knows statistics upside down, left, right, you know, and back again.
He's a crazy man when it comes to fantasy football. That dude, I have, and this isn't degrading your show at all, I could give two shits about fantasy football. I'm so invested in the Bears. I can't imagine. Like I do play some daily fantasy with some buddies here.
Yeah.
But other than that, you know, investing in other guys, I don't have the right mentality to do it and get. I break too many controllers as it is watching the fucking Bears. I can't imagine watching another fucking team and being that invested into it and going crazy. Ela would kick my ass out of the house.
Well, Shane, it just gives you another reason to, you know, turn on the show at on Tuesday nights at 9:30. Learn a little about some fantasy football and who you may need to draft for your daily fantasy. You know, come check us out.
Yeah, it's
but TTNL family, dude, they were in the chat chain. Sorry to cut you off,
no,
but I'm
used
I
to
saw
it. I'm used
many
to it.
people. I don't know who you're talking about. So,
me either.
You know, with that being said, you know, just the chat and the love and the support, and it was people were hitting me up afterwards, and it was just really, it felt good being new, but also Steven is like that guy is just fantasy 101, 201, 301, doctorate.
Got that fucking voice too, that dude.
He's in that little coffin of a studio, so you never know what's going to happen in there. You know,
you know how many? It's people are always all over Steven Johnson. That dude. I mean, Cherie, I think wants him to win the.
Hates him with a passion, right?
What are we putting her on? It's Farmers Only, I think. That we're putting her on.
Plenty of fish. I don't know. Whatever. I forget what it was.
So Steven Johnson, if you're out there listening, watch out for Cherie. I think she's got her eyes focused on you, bro. She loves that voice of yours. I have no idea if that's true. Cherie's probably throwing shit at her TV right now. But
her mom's already, got that. She's out for you anyway, Shane.
Yeah.
Actually, no, her husband.
But speaking of her husband,
Newest invention here is called the Cobb.
Cherie, Jesus.
Jesus Christ! Here we go. You said you weren't going to do that tonight, Shane.
No segments. No segments.
That's
no
right.
segments. Just the corn cob quickie.
I love it.
All right, Jackal. I gotta keep it honest, man. I'm sick of seeing your face, so you're the fuck out of here. We're gonna go back to talking about football because that's what we do here at TTNL. I think you guys totally agree. That's what we want to do.
So our main concern on offense, you missed that one, Shane. But my main concern on offense would be Tevin Jenkins back, but you already covered that. So I guess I'm going to go with Sam Mustipher.
Yep.
And just, his development with, Castillo. And hopefully, Olin Kreutz has been working with him as well, I guess. So hopefully those will pay dividends and he can, just progress. But I am still worried that, he's not going to progress. And then we're going to be pretty thin at center and moving James Daniels over. And then it's just a carousel of offensive line. So I guess that would be my number one concern.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I think what people we've talked about it here too, with Sam. I think amongst the fan base, people, especially in the Midwest and in Chicago, I think they see the fucking Golden Domer and they automatically fall in love. I mean, Cars, you see he's got a lot to like, but he's got a lot he's got to work on too. But I think he's got the mentality, and I think his best attribute is maybe even off the field in the locker room, because it's Olin has talked about it, and the kid commands a fucking presence and has taken over really as a leader, as a fucking undrafted free agent center that's really kind of undersized, but he's putting in the work, and you start to gain that respect of your teammates. And I just go back to the games where if you saw a little scuffle, he was the first fucking dude there. Like,
we had way too many nice guys. Whitehair's a nice guy. James Daniels is a nice guy. Bobby Massey, I don't know how that guy wasn't meaner, right? Like, that was a mammoth of a man. And so, there was no tenacity in that line. He absolutely, I think we all, if you're in the Chicagoland area, a lot of us grew up watching Notre Dame football on Sundays because it was always on, or on Saturdays because it was always on, right? So there is a lot of us that have those tie-ins to him, but he's earned that. Like, you don't need center's an interesting position. It certainly helps if you're uber athletic and super strong, but if you could command the respect, if you're very smart and you could pick out things that you don't need the quarterback to do, you become that quarterback's best friend. He's got those traits. I just hope the weight he added, and supposedly he did a lot of strength training, added
he needed to
10 or 15 pounds of muscle onto that frame. If that helps, it helps if you have like a Rodney Hudson at center. Please don't get me wrong, but you don't need that to be at that position to have a very good line. You need the other two traits, and hopefully he's just kind of that glue piece that brings the other four all together.
Yep. So just going from there, we'll transition off the offensive line, and I'm going to group these last two positional groups together because they're going to go hand in hand in the tight ends and wide receivers and Cars. Josh, I'm sure you've seen it too, but I think you're starting to see the fundamental shift in what the Bears want in their wide receivers, because
speed.
It's glaring when you tune in to other NFL football games. I just sit there and I get jealous about it, because you can just see the blinding speed and athleticism. And how many times do you turn it over to another game and you're like, that dude's just fucking running free, and it just because he's faster than everybody. I mean, we had some people that did that, and unfortunately we overthrew them or sailed the ball out of bounds, and that included that's not just a shot at Mitch. We saw Nick Foles do it, and
we haven't had it since Varian, right? Varian and Knox were really the last two consistent deep threats we had. Like, Gabriel was good for a player too, right? But even with as fast as he was, it didn't seem like his speed translated with pads on.
Yeah.
I mean, A-Rob's our slowest receiver, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thomas St. Ives might be the slowest one, but I don't think he's making it.
But no, I think that's the it's going to be interesting to see where this goes with number 12. I don't have confidence that there's people out there that think that he's a top 5 guy. He's not, to me. And I don't think the Bears have any fucking intention of giving this dude $20 million because a season, because it goes back to what we talked about, and you can want to throw Ryan Pace under the bus and his front office and Josh Lucas and all of these guys that work these guys out and are working on the contracts and what they're gonna offer them up. But Ryan Pace played the fucking market perfectly, and Allen Robinson and his agency They did not. I believe was it Brandon Parker? Is that his?
I'm not sure.
His agent, I believe it is, and
Yes, it
I
is.
think that they really believed that they were gonna come out and get this huge monster offer, and it never materialized. And you saw the shift in his thought process when the Bears, look who's in town. Kenny Galladay is in town, and the Bears are, they're meeting with him, and he signed the fucking franchise tender the very next day. So
he saw Keenan Allen's deal, right?
Yep.
Like and it's usually the biggest mistake everybody makes. The San Diego or whatever Chargers team, sorry, I can't get your city right. Just because they overpaid doesn't mean that other teams are going to. And if you look at statistically, like where they line up as far as yards per catch, touchdowns, they're both really good route runners, but they don't take the top off. And look, this is what the NFL is all about these days.
Yeah, it really is, Cars. And I think, there's been out there, I don't know if it was PFF Brad, I think maybe put it out there first, talking about you may see a role shift in how they're going to use Allen Robinson, where he's going to become your slot receiver, and then they're going to put the speed on the outside with Goodwin and Bird, and then you think about having Allen Robinson in the slot being the savvy route runner that he is, with a guy like Mooney included in there also with the speed element outside. But don't forget about the kid that we drafted last year, number 85, with Cole Kmet. You have Kmet and Robinson doing some work in the middle of the fucking field. That's going to make Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, whoever's throwing the ball, that's going to make their lives so much easier. And I think that brings the inside, the interior, what the Bears have always said is the strength of their offensive line. Your Cody Whitehair, and if it's Mustipher and James Daniels, that brings their, position into, that much more importance, because you're going to see these guys, I think, attacking down the middle of the field. And Cars, how many years have we been calling for that, for the Bears to take some shots down the fucking seam? And if you got one every 8 games, maybe you were lucky, it seemed like. And I think that they're going to have the personnel now.
Rex,
right.
Like, we love that about Rex. It was like, fuck it, I'm going deep, right? Like, and it didn't always work. But you're absolutely right. Is what we got so excited about Jay Cutler for. And we saw, like, think about that. I will never forget that game with Minnesota and Alshon, right, where Alshon was making ridiculous catches, and we were just stretching a team. Or when Jim Miller had that 400-yard passing game, right? Like, those are exceptions for us, and they're not necessarily rules everywhere else, but they happen so much more frequently than they ever do here. We've never focused on having team speed. Like, we focus it on the defensive side of the ball, but we've never focused on having speed on offense. We've been content to kind of be this plodding offense.
I have no idea what the fuck Chubbs is talking about here. I hope he's not talking about any of us here. Maybe he's talking about if they offered me Justin Jefferson for Allen Robinson right now, I'll fucking sign off on that.
Absolutely.
I think he's trying to say that that's why Allen Robinson isn't one of the top 10 wide receivers that some people are saying, which I again completely
I
agree
would
with.
sign up for that right now, all day long. And it's just, Cars, do you think we're seeing this fundamental shift in what the Bears' philosophy, and do you expect them to make an attempt to bring him back?
So I think they will make an attempt, because I think, to your point,
but at their
dollar, he's gonna go back out, and I think he's gonna have a fantastic year. I think he's gonna have another one of those 1,000-yard, 10, 11 yards per catch type seasons. We'll see the touchdown numbers that we go, and then he's gonna go back out to the market. But I think, like what we saw with Sammy Watkins, and he's a better wide receiver than Sammy Watkins. Please don't get me wrong. But we see all these guys. If you are not a take the top off guy, that lowers your value. That's what's going to end up hurting Montgomery when it comes to free agency time, because he's not the take the top off guy. The league values speed. Everybody wishes that they could go like Kansas City with DeMarcus and Hill and those guys and just attack vertically. But you saw it last season with Tampa, right? Like you saw this with all these teams focusing on speed. It's the most important trait that these guys have, and it's the first time again as a team that we have it. So yeah, I think they're going to look to bring him back around 16 to 18 million, and if he keeps pushing 20 million plus, Allen's gone. And so I think that's where I'm
and it's not I think Jackal, did you have that in the chat there? You were throwing up the wide receivers. Can you so Devontae Adams, listen, it's to me, if they're moving on from
him,
Aaron Rodgers, and that they're going to do this with Jordan Love, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. But Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley, Chris Godwin, I think that is probably a guy. Yeah, I think that's probably a guy that the Bears would look at in free agency, and the Bears are going to have money to spend next year. Robbie Anderson, Juju Smith-Schuster, DJ Chark, Jamison Crowder. I mean, there's a chance. I saw Jamison actually reworked his deal, I believe, this season with the Jets to stay, but there was some talk that maybe he could be a guy that would potentially, break free. I think that they offered him to a couple of different teams around the draft. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, and the Bears. What's that?
What's your take on the wide receivers compared to last year?
The speed element is the glaring.
It's improved though with Miller gone and Bird.
Well,
I think A-Rob slotted in the right position as a good start,
and I think that there's more. I think that there's more potential upside there, but I think there's just as much downside because Goodwin has got he's got the fucking speed. He's got to fucking stay healthy. He can't go out there. He's the type of guy that'll go out there and give you 4 catches and have 163 yards, and then he's gone for the next 6 weeks with a pulled hamstring. That's kind of been, his MO. I think Bird is got the speed element. He's more of a consistent, steady guy. He actually he had around 700 yards in New England.
600 yards, and he's
Cam Newton.
Yeah, I mean he's the one that I'm really looking more forward to, and but I feel like he's one of those guys that I mentioned him a couple weeks ago when we talked about Jeff Graham, right? And Jeff came from Pittsburgh, and all of a sudden was in a place where they were going to feature him a little bit more, and he put up numbers. I kind of feel like Bird is that type of guy that might see a little bit more action, right? He's going to get some better coverage. I think, when you start looking at, Shayne, to your point, with Kmet and Allen working the underneath and the intermediate stuff, like he's going to be able to use his speed. And if anybody watched New England, Newton really struggled with the deep ball. And so Bird had 1 or 2 like really kind of good deep plays that were completely missed. I mean, completely missed by Cam, and he had a couple others. So I think he's the guy I'm excited for. Goodwin, I think, to Shayne's point, like maybe he gets 30 catches, but it's like 700 yards, right? It's something ridiculous like that, and there's no in between. But speed kills in this league, and height doesn't matter anymore. Size doesn't matter. Just get the speed, get open.
That's
and
what
I feel like
you remember. You brought up Alshon. Remember that it was the trade for Brandon Marshall, and then Emory drafted Alshon. I believe traded up for Alshon in round 2.
Yeah.
And it's just you can't survive with that as your blueprint at wide receiver in today's NFL, just with the way that the offenses are built. And to go off of that blueprint again, or that a bigger wide receiver, it shouldn't fall on deaf ears. What we heard Matt Nagy say today, he praised Riley Ridley for the offseason that he had and stepping up. And listen, there's no bigger Riley Ridley fan out there than I am. I was pounding the table, screaming from the rooftops for them to I couldn't believe that he was available when they got him in round 4. And for, lots of rumors and stuff of why he's been in the doghouse so much, and for whatever reason, if it's a Matt Nagy being called out by the rookie wide receiver at the time, if it was a work ethic thing, there was even rumors out there that he's been, living off his brother's contract and really hasn't had to put the work in because Calvin's been taking care of his baby brother, financially. So,
and you see Anthony Miller now, like those.
Yep.
I think this offseason was a rude awakening in the way that happened. Like, I think he was probably told in no uncertain terms, like, this is it. This is make or break for you. And if you don't step up, you're done.
Yep.
And
so who didn't get, maybe I missed it. I didn't get to see the entire thing, but you're talking about these bigger wide receivers that aren't super explosive but number 15 this year. So are you putting more stock into Matt Nagy praising Riley Ridley, and this is just further evidence that Javon Wims is going to be on the outside looking in? Because if you're asking me today, that's where I'm going with this, and that's where I think this is probably potentially headed. I don't think that they're done with Riley Ridley. There's more there with him. The kid is talented. Javon Wims. Yeah, Javon Wims. I
don't know how he's still on the team.
Yeah, that ship has sailed with me. But
Absolutely.
What are you buying that too with Javon Wims being out?
I think so. I think he's going to be part of the competition, but I don't think for a guy who started as much last year as he did and made zero impact until he dropped an easy flea flicker. He was a negative all over the place.
That was a potential fucking game shifting play
yeah,
early.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He tried to catch it with his arms instead of his hands.
And New Orleans goes and runs it the same play a week later, right? Yeah. And it works. Those are the things. I think we haven't been probably hard enough on Mike Furry as a position coach because all the letdowns have come from that region or that position. But yeah, I think Wims is done. He's one of the older guys. He's a year younger than A-Rob, right? Yep. Like that's pretty telling.
Yeah, and it is. And so Chubbs brought up a great point too. And I kind of alluded to it here a little bit earlier. And don't forget back in the 2018 draft that when the Bears got Roquan and then they drafted James Daniels, and then they actually traded back up for Anthony Miller. That was not their intent going in. They tried like hell to move back up into the end of the first round for Calvin Ridley.
Yes.
That was their focus. And to Chubb's point, he put it in there in the chat, and that is the mold, I think, of where we're moving with this wide receiver core here in Chicago. And listen, things get planted in the weeds now for next off season. And if you see Riley Ridley get his chance, and they can use that as the ultimate free agent recruiting tool, because Atlanta's got cap issues. And
massive.
Yeah, massive ones. So you say, hey, bro, you want to come here, play with Justin Fields? You got your baby brother here. We got a fucking tight end. We got Mooney. These guys to build with. We got a consistent run game with David Montgomery, and however that plays out, it's a great job by Chubbs bringing that up, because I totally agree that we're going to get into we're going to play this season out, obviously, but I would store that one away right now. And I think if we pull the timestamp on this, when free agency comes around, if they don't franchise him, which I don't think that they can probably even afford to in Atlanta, the way that things are shaping up, I think that's going to be a move that you're going to see the Chicago Bears heavily involved in, with bringing a guy like Calvin Ridley here to Chicago, because don't forget, they tried trading up for him, and personnel departments don't forget shit like that. They see their guy and they try to get their guy at some point when he comes free, and I think you're going to see that in Chicago.
Well, and to tie it back, when we talk about the press conference that Matt Nagy had the other day, right? Like the giddiness that those men have over the developments of what Justin Fields has looked at. When I made that comment earlier about he opened the door back to Justin Fields starting. Don't think that players don't pay attention to that sort of thing. We always hear, I don't read the reports, and then we'll see some philosophical thing about haters the next day on Twitter from all these guys. They're aware. And so as things start to get around about what Justin's doing, what that looks like, if the offense starts to look a bit more explosive, unlike Green Bay, this is a great vacation town. People are going to look for a reason to come here. And if we give them the quarterback on top, it is everything. And I'm not saying it's going to come at a discount,
right?
But it is definitely something that Calvin is going to sit back and hey, bro, what's he look like? What does he look like? He's that good? All right, I'm coming.
Yeah, and Ciro brought this up, and this was, you have to remember that when he was projected to be the Bears pick, that was when the Bears were drafting top 10 that year. That everybody, it's true, Calvin Ridley was the choice for a lot of people, but he started to fall down, and what was it, like 25 or so he went to Atlanta?
Ridiculous, yeah.
I think he dropped down there quite a bit, and I know for 100% fact, I see my brother-in-law is in the chat, and I was sitting next to him during the draft, and we were in where the hell were we? Jesus, he'll
North
put it
Carolina.
in the chat. Yeah, that's when we were there. Yeah. And Outer Banks, Jesus, it was escaping me. And the Bears were trying like crazy. They thought they actually had a deal to move up for him with two different teams, and it fell through. And that one of the teams was Atlanta, and then Atlanta ended up pulling the trigger. So, and one more thing in here too. And I did bring up Riley, and then Riley Ridley, and somebody put in there, it depends on how the Bears treat Riley Ridley. And that is a part of it. And I know I brought that up, but at the end of the day, one thing is going to matter. It's going to matter where the arrow was pointed with Justin Fields, and it's going to matter, how many zeros are in the contract offer. That's cash is king and guaranteed money. And that's going to be the deciding factor no matter what. I'm just saying, if you can use Riley Ridley as a recruiting tool and he gets his chance this year with the upside of Justin Fields, that's a pretty great spot to be in as for a sales pitch for next year in free agency. But I know we're getting super ahead of ourselves, but Josh E, this is going to be your moment to shine. Brother.
It's all on you now.
All right.
Yeah, you want to get that ready, and we're going to throw this up here before we make the transition to the other side of the ball. Exactly. You want to take the banners off there, and we're gonna isolate Mr. Fabulous here, Josh E, the winner. The bright lights are on, buddy.
All right, I'm ready.
Are you ready to perform? And
I sure am. Are you guys ready for me?
Ready?
I'm ready.
I've heard stories that you are anti-manscaping, that you love the retro look, which I'm not sure why, but
the Ron Jeremy look. No, I do. I love all their products. I haven't bought, but probably tomorrow morning I'm going to be on board. So
no, definitely tomorrow morning. Yeah, definitely,
you bet.
Probably. Right there.
Definitely, most definitely. Actually, after I'm done tonight, I'm buying it. Keeping it 100. I am.
Yeah, we've heard stories that you need it. So go ahead, man. Let her rip.
All right, guys. The Olympics, Euros, baseball, major championships, and concerts are all in this summer. You know what isn't? A wild and hairy bush. Tame your pubes with the help from our friends at Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. Their 4th generation performance package includes the brand new Lawnmower 4.0. If an athlete treats their body like royalty, why not treat your pubes like Olympic gold? Oh. Fellas, do right by your balls and join the 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. By going to manscaped.com with the code KI100 for Keeping It 100, the world is starting to open, and the Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped is here to help you get ready. Inside, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer. Don't forget the Crop Preserver ball deodorant and the Crop Reviver toner, plus 2 free gifts, Performance Boxer Briefs and the Shed Travel Bag. Talk about a world-class dismount into a post-quarantine world. This perfect package is perfect for your package and peak performance in whatever you desire.
Newest invention here is
the brand new Lawnmower 4.0 is here to take the podium. The 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has 7,000 RPM motor. A new multi-function on-off switch can engage a travel lock and gives you the ability to turn the 4K light LED spotlight on and off whenever you need it for more precise shave. Did I mention this trimmer is waterproof too? Michael Phelps is just drooling thinking about the possibilities. The package also comes with the Weed Whacker to chop your worst weeds up top in your nose and ears. Oh. This tool is a lock to take home, the gold in the biathlon. The Weed Whacker is also waterproof and uses 9,000 RPM motor, 300 degree rotisserie blade, rotary blade. All right, that will do it, guys.
What?
Get your Manscaped today. And I'm serious, guys. Go out and get your Manscaped package today. It's perfect for your package.
He nailed it.
Josh, you've been judged in the chat room, man. People are not digging your
oh
read
shit,
here, man. You are Chubbs is taking it out on you, bro.
Chubbs.
Thank God it's finally somebody else instead of Shayne and I. It's all good.
Oh no, Cars. I was all over this. I was talking to Josh the other night, and I'm like, "Hey, bro, want to do the Manscaped read?"
And I said I would do it, but I thought I could maybe change it up and spice it up. But hey, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, you did awesome. You did great.
Yeah, you did good, and we are continuing moving forward with Manscaped here, absolutely, because they love what we're doing, and hopefully they don't rip the contract up and run away after Josh's read. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. But guys, before we make the transition to defense, we talked about it's been a real big year here at TTNL from where we came from and where we are today. So I pulled out some of the archives from when we first started, and we have this little clip that I'd like to share. You guys can just take a trip down memory lane just a little bit. And this was something that we put together, Phil and I, last year when we hadn't done our first official show, but this may bring back some good memories for some people and maybe not so good memories for the people that were involved. But just sit back and enjoy this little piece of history.
I would be willing to.
You are listening to
Flies Unite.
Last call.
Hello. It's ridiculous, the hate on Glennon.
To license it.
Man, oh man.
the offensive line sucks.
Did you say a little Pinheiro? Are we bringing this up again with Kyle Long?
I remember when I used to work with those guys. Those guys are awesome.
Now tuned into the motherfucking greatest.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that, Cars. Look at that was so good. Josh just fucking left.
He's like, screw these guys. I'm out of here.
He's probably charging up his Manscaped 4.0.
Oh no, I'm going to buy mine. Sorry,
it's the weekend. He's got to get his shit straight. So
that's right, man.
But yeah, that was a little look back to where we came from to where we are, and Phil and I are gonna do a little special show that we haven't announced yet, and we're gonna keep it with the patron side. So if you're not a TTNL patron, head over to thetapeneverlies.com, sign up. It's $7 a month. Josh, I know you're a patron, Cars. You've seen what we do, and I think you guys will both agree it's well worth the $7. It's not that you're tied in for long term. Give it a chance for 30 days, and if you don't like it, you can you're out $7. You don't have to stay. But we're gonna have a little look back about where we've come, how much we've grown over the past 12 months. September 1st, 2020 was our first official show last year. Under the TTNL network. We kicked it off the night before with a show with Steven Johnson and Zach Pearson called TTNL, Keepin It 100, just the tip, because we're just going to give you a little taste. I know that's how Josh used to meet all his women back in the day, playing that just the tip game, he said.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, guys.
Absolutely,
come on now.
yeah.
That's right.
It all matters. But enough of the look back. I just wanted to talk about it just a little bit, because I think it's important. It matters where you come from, and there was some whatever reasons that things happened. I think Phil and I are much better for it, and it really needed to happen, and we're glad that it did, because I feel like we're doing great things, and I really feel that things are going to blow up even more. But I
was really pissed last year, Shayne, about this time, and then I had a conversation with you. I'm like, I don't even troll, but I'm like, I'm going to troll that. I was so pissed off. I'm like, I'm going to troll that, and then you're like, no, man, we're just going to kill him with content, and you've done it. You've done it, man.
Yeah.
That was this sage advice, man.
Yeah, it is. It's it's not always the easiest thing, and I know there's been some back and forth, because we've haven't always taken that path of remaining silent when it comes to that, and I know there's been some people on the other side that are upset if we made some comments, but whatever. It is what it is. They're doing their thing, we're doing our thing, and it's but I think it's important, because that's where we got our start. That's where we really fell in love with this forum, this outlet, and the growth. Cars, I think you can speak on it real quick if you want to, just the growth of what this has become in not even 12 months has been pretty impressive.
You guys have been allowed to really kind of become what you always were, right? Like, it's interesting when someone is, when you remove kind of the moderator from you guys and just allow you to speak freely and do these things and kind of do what it is that you've always wanted to, and that proof is there. So I mean, how quickly the numbers grew, how quickly people went up from being super excited from seeing you got that very first show. I will never forget the very first full show that went on, because it was other than your YouTube ban, it was a really positive moment, and many people came along for that first one, and it's just been growing. So your point, it's always great to remember where you start and kind of those low moments that hit you, and then to see where it is today, where we can carry on the best show we've ever had without somebody else. I mean, it just tells you how far you've gone in a year.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just looking down. Who's that?
I don't know.
You're talking about you were talking about the moderator. Are you talking about this guy?
Smoke weed every day.
I don't even know where this dude is. He's like backpacking in Italy or.
I hope my nephew isn't listening again, so I can't get
Oh
in
yes,
trouble for him.
I'm definitely not going to
singing.
play that. I felt so guilty even making that video. I know I can't share it, but I felt guilty even making that video, Cars. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, this is awful, but I'm still sending it.
It's a good one. It's a fantastic one. Yeah. But no, I mean, like what you guys have. This is fun, right? Like football and talking about it. Yeah. It's what Logan said. It's got to be therapeutic. It's got to be. So many of us are ridiculous Bears fans. The amount of money in clothing and memorabilia and tickets and all these different things that we do. This is it's not life or death, but it feels that way sometimes, right? And
it sure does. Yeah.
There aren't a lot of shows that make people feel that live in those moments, right? Like that take those highs, that take those lows, and they put it all in front of everybody. And I was not taking a shot at Claudio as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
But, like when you get to do that without repercussions now, when you get to every week what you want to do is yours, you could be creative, you could do everything. Like, it just shows through. And
we control it. That's
exactly.
That's the most important thing to us is, it's not that we were really restricted a bunch, but it's
you're free.
This is our baby, and this, if we want to do something like I was talking to Jackal on the way home from work tonight, and he's like, yeah, Josh E reached out to me, and he's like, yeah, when do I get the show notes? And Jackal and I just started laughing. I'm like, yeah, that shit,
Josh,
that shit doesn't ask Cars has been with us for almost a year now doing this, and
I get a text 15 minutes before.
Here's
Come
the show,
on,
right?
Here's the link. Good luck.
Yeah,
and you're like, I have no idea what's going to happen. And
planning starts at 8 p.m. So
yeah. And I enjoy it. In all seriousness, though, I enjoy it that way because, sometimes I enjoy it that way because sometimes we can go off the rails a little bit and it just becomes something ridiculous. But like that draft show and those draft shows were the most fun I've had
ever
doing this.
I'll always remember where I was when I was with you guys. Like the calls, I'm moving up, and the Bears are moving up, Cars, and it was Phil's, Tevin Jenkins, to Patrick Henry.
Yeah,
give me a tackle, give me death. I will remember exactly where I was, and it was a pick that is probably the best pick the Bears have ever had for a quarterback in my lifetime. So
at that position,
that was a double bonus. That was
this has been. You guys have done great. I love it. I love being a part of this. And it's, you think about where we are a year in, like what's that second year? Like it's just starting. It's just getting into that flow.
Yeah, we talked about, and BHL is we're working on some stuff for that coming up because the season is coming up so fast, and
it's crazy.
That's such a blitz when that show goes because you're literally, Phil and I do a lightning show at halftime every single week of every Bears game, and it could be, it's literally halftime is literally, it's like 12 minutes, and we will go live. We'll try to do the real quick thing and get it posted up. We do it for the patron members only, and then as soon as the zeros come across the board and the game ends, it's boom, we're live on BHL. And there was moments last year where the Bears were rolling, and we're pushing 3,500, 4,000 people on live, and I mean, you see these comments over here, and it's an impossible to stay focused on them. But that's what this team means to this fan base. They crave more content. I had my issue with Cars. You were just busting my chops about it the other day. It was funny that we bring this up, but I had a little back and forth with Lawrence Holmes on Twitter a couple of years ago because it always pissed me off because they had the forum and they had the talent there with these former players to really have one of the best post-game shows. And I know they won awards and shit like that, but I'm like, you're tuning in and you're listening to Matt Forte bag on running backs and then Alex Brown and I'm thinking to myself, all these guys were going back to, back when we played. And I'm like, well, yeah, guess what? You guys won, but you guys also weren't super consistent year after year. Yeah, a lot of that had to do with the quarterback, but I'm like, you guys, it turned into more of a see who we could bag on because people are going to fucking laugh. And it really totally got away from football. So I put it out there and it pissed me off because, Lawrence Holmes, you can right, wrong, or indifferent. He's a talented guy. I just didn't like what they were doing with the show. And it created a fucking Twitter firestorm. And I got in a lot of trouble with it from where we came from, unfortunately, at the time. And that all got worked out. But
you don't need Buffon or Bradovich, right? Where it's just two
Right.
old guys
Screaming,
salty,
right.
yelling at everybody.
Yeah.
But you missed a little bit. Nuanced is the wrong word, but right, you miss a little bit of like the more particular things that they liked and didn't like. Like Matt Forte is an extremely brilliant guy. Let's talk about like what you saw from a play calling that stood out. Alex and Lance, right? Let's talk about those things instead of like, these guys couldn't,
Yeah,
these guys couldn't play us in 2008.
Lovey was here, we were in the locker room playing Box It Up. That's when you see those videos of them putting the box over the guy. And that's team camaraderie, and that's what a locker room is all about. And that's really when you move away from sports, that's the stuff that you miss. But I'm like, it's just they had the outlet and they had the funding and they had the really the talent that lived it to be so much better than what they were, in a post-game show. And, Phil and I took that to heart when we were bringing BHL out of mothballs. And it's really a big part of what this network does. And it's really a driving force because originally that was going to be patron only. And I called Phil up one night and I'm like, bro, this thing is massive. And, we didn't want to take it away from the large audience. And just because, our listeners helped make that really what it is with the way that they're turning out. And it's like you said, Josh E, when you and I had that comment the talk last year, when you're like, I'm going to go troll and do all this. And I said, no, bro, we're going to kill them with content. And that's right. That's what we try to do. So we'll transition from the history class and where we came from and all that. And we're going to get over onto the defense. And, it's listen, guys, it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think there's not as many question marks on defense, obviously, as there is on offense. I do think that, believe it or not, I think this defense is underrated from what they're getting from a lot of people because, everybody always throw this aging Bears defense. Well, there's a lot of guys that are very young, and listen, with that comes, you're taking risks. A guy like Jalen Johnson has all the talent in the world. Josh, you brought it up. Shoulders. Eddie Jackson's got all the talent in the world. Is he going to live up to his contract? Is he going to take football serious? Is he going to put his fucking head down and go make a fucking play and not, worried about ancillary things off the fucking field and recording himself, draped on the hood of his Bentley at a gas station, shit like that, and concentrate on football. But we all know that this all starts up front. And I've been talking about this, and I know a lot of people don't like to hear it. The guy wasn't at practice today, and I think it's got to be talked about. Is Akeem Hicks 100% going to be on this roster? And I'm not saying that they're releasing him or anything like that, but could he be a guy that they move off of potentially for a pick or to upgrade someplace else?
So did they ever announce why he didn't practice today?
No. Not that I saw, unless it came out tonight.
And he wasn't on the list of folks. And that's why I asked, right? Because usually there's a list of folks ahead of time that we know of guys who weren't going to practice.
Yep.
He wasn't there. I think he is kind of a lock to be there.
Yep.
Because I think they good, bad, or indifferent, I think they still expect to make the playoffs with everything that happens. And so I think, them not moving Nick Foles, which I don't think is going to happen. I think they're content with the roster and the cap as it is now. And, I know, Shayne, you and I talked about, I do think they are looking if there's another move to be made somewhere out there to go pick up somebody else. And obviously Hicks would probably be part of that. But I don't think 3 weeks ago or a month ago, I would have thought, yeah, he's gone, but that he's still here. It feels like they have big expectations for him.
Josh?
I just really think that Akeem, he's a valuable asset. Would I trade him? I may actually think about it just because I don't think he's going to stay healthy all year. I just, he's been breaking down, and, if he's healthy now, trade him before the season where you could get max value.
This is kind of, you guys know how I tend to look at things from just the player when healthy is a top.
But I don't think he's going to stay healthy this year.
Well, this has been the problem.
Yeah, he'll start off the season fine, and then
the way that I'm looking at it, I tend to look at things from a general manager's perspective. Even I'm a year too early than a year too late guy when it comes to roster construction. And we talked about James Daniels, we talked about Roquan Smith. There's also another guy that's going to need to be paid, and that's Bilal Nichols. And if you open up a spot for him to really see what he is and let him, kind of spread his wings, they invested in Blackson. They invested in Mario Williams. This is where I'm kind of headed here. If you can get any type of value for Akeem Hicks, I'm not saying that I agree with it. I'm just looking at this from a straight business perspective. If they can make an upgrade, I think it's something that they're going to not push to the back burner. And I think it's something that they will explore this preseason just to see, where they could potentially upgrade at another spot, because he's in a contract here too, correct?
Yes, he's got the most movable deal left, right? Because he's in, I believe, the last year of his deal, so he just carries the straight $12 million cap number. So you're talking about
Miami.
For Xavier. We joke about it. I think they would obviously consider that, but I think Miami's going to look for firsts. I think you're looking. I think this is a position that they're looking at a wide receiver, like a wide receiver position. Kind of makes sense. I don't know a name that's available, but what I've been saying this, so pardon me for repeating myself, but we've been a 60% of the cap to the defense team for the longest time.
That's going to be shifting.
Yeah. Those days are done. And so now this is going to shift. We've got it. We've got all this money in Roquan and Trevathan, or Roquan's upcoming. So yeah, I think you could potentially look at a deal there, and maybe, maybe you're looking at a Dallas for Gallup, or, you're looking at all these different places for these up and coming. Maybe it's a Denver for one of their, deeper wide receiver room. There's places for him to go that I think that's where they're looking for.
Yeah, and it's I see Raymond had in there get rid of Robert Quinn. You can't. It comes down to a financial decision, and then he put in there to trade Hicks to Arizona for Chandler Jones, and that's not going to happen.
Quinn would actually be $24 million of dead cap. He'd be almost $10 million more. Yep. It would cost the Bears an additional $10 million. They can't. Yeah. He is untouchable until next year, probably.
Yeah, and
he was out today too, wasn't he?
No, he played today.
Yeah, Quinn was in today.
They actually said that.
It sounds like they're going to move with him. It's going to be, he's going to get a lot of those veteran days off. Because listen, they know who he is when he's cranked up and ready to go.
Right.
you don't need to see him in preseason. Their focus with him is week 1 versus the Rams, Sunday Night Football, to have him ready to go there. That's their focus with a veteran like Robert Quinn.
Today, they made a couple of moments where he said he was in the backfield quicker than anybody, and so that's it. Again, we keep talking about the young corners and where they're at. They're expecting Robert Quinn to be a pass rushing force to elevate those guys. I think.
Yeah. You
heard Long should come in.
You heard Khalil Mack talk about it. They talked that he's like, "What do you guys got? What do you and Quinn have to?" He said, "We got to get after we have to sack the quarterback. That's why we got paid. That's why we're here." And Zach, I don't know if I'm mispronouncing your last name. Zach Suleiman had a thing in there. Would we be interested in a trade for A-Rob for Xavier Howard? I just don't. I listen. Yeah, they can't. I understand it, but I just don't. Miami's not in that business either.
We can't get rid of the one wide receiver that we can count on. I don't care how high you are on Mooney. You can't get away from a sure thing while you're trying to develop a young rookie quarterback. So not that he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no,
for the season.
I totally agree there. But this is Mario Williams to me has always been an interesting case study. He's a guy that I'm not a Florida State fan in college, but I obviously appreciate the players. I remember the draft. Him and Eddie Goldman came out. Those are my two guys.
Boys, right?
Yeah, and I think that this is something that didn't get talked about enough with Eddie coming back and playing, with Mario and the Bears. Yeah, I was really happy to see the Bears invest in Mario.
They have one of the deepest lines.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I'm telling you, man, we broke down Blackson on the patron side. We broke it down, Berlissimo and Phil and Coach O. And this kid is a late bloomer, coming into his own. And he's going to be somebody that people, I think, are going to be very surprised, health, hopefully he stays healthy. And it's just, I don't know, man. To me, it just seems that this is something that I don't think that the Bears are going to go out of their way to do it, but I think it's something that they're going to explore with Akeem Hicks, because you're talking about the depth that they have there, Cars, and listen,
Travis too. Like we cannot. No, I agree. If you looked at how
that dude worked, I'll tell you that
swole he looks. And sorry for saying that as honky as I can, but like
you said it like a 6'4" pasty white guy. Cars.
Thank God, that's exactly what I am. Who knew? But like, yeah, totally. But I mean, like you look at that, it's Edwards, Bilal, Goldman, Blackson, Gibson. Right, like they're going, and I think Tonga as well is probably going to have a big part in this, because I think they love him for his run stuffing ability. Like this is the deepest we've had a defensive line while we've been here. And you notice I didn't mention Akeem, because if you look at that line just without him, that is a top line. Now, when you add him in there. And I think, Josh, one of the benefits of this is the line is so deep that you're not going to have to play Akeem all those snaps that they normally do, that you're going to be able to push him. And now with Goldman back, you're going to put Bilal back at his better defensive end position. You're going to see Mario in that defensive. You're going to see Travis in that defensive end position. Now that you can really rotate him, you might get the most out of Akeem that you have ever gotten. Or have gotten since the 2018 season, because you don't have to have him out. I mean, we remember when we used to see him completely gassed at the end of games, right? Like,
and then we have a in-shape Goldman. Don't forget.
That's huge. Looks sculpted.
Yeah, he does. He does. And I just, before we move off of Eddie, Josh, I'm glad you brought that up. I think it's important. Eddie essentially came out and admitted that he made the wrong decision opting out.
Yes.
Last year, and I think that was important that he mentioned that.
An answer to your question, right?
Yeah.
Do you love it? And he's like, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. It mattered to him, and that's what I like to hear. And This guy, did he just turn 27 or is he still 26? He's right around there, that 26, 27-year-old range. And he was him and I know I kept people are making fun of me in the chat. I kept on saying Mario Williams, Mario Edwards. Both of those guys are 20-year-old rookies coming out. So they've got
he is 27.
Yeah,
now.
so they have some years in the league, but they're still, Jesus, 27. How old's Hicks? Is Hicks going to be what, 32?
32, I believe.
Yeah, right around there. So it's like I said, I'm not saying that I want it to happen, but I think the Bears trades play into this also, because you're heading in to 2022 draft without a first rounder, without a fourth rounder. You just got back a fifth, in the Anthony Miller trade, and I think that they're in the accumulation of assets if they can flip a guy where they have depth. And I think that as good as Akeem Hicks is, I think that there is some downside there to him just because of the injury history, but I think he's a guy that will hold some value around the league. I mean, if you're a team like whom I don't know, just name anybody. I think most teams are going to be interested in adding a guy of Akeem Hicks caliber.
And you look at like the places I would look at instantly would be like a New Orleans, where what's the name of the guy that didn't work out on the outside? The pass rusher they drafted a few years ago. He makes a lot of sense there. Seattle makes a lot of sense because those are teams that are planning for playoff runs.
Yep.
And need some bodies. So yeah, I think there are places where he could go. And who knows? Maybe it's a third, maybe it's a fourth round pick for someone of his stature.
Yep.
And that just means more snaps for Bilal, who we all, I think, tend to agree is an ascending player.
Yeah. And I think to your point too, Cars, I think an underrated aspect of all of this is Tonga.
Yeah.
If he goes out there and he shows that's even more depth on this line. And I think that if they move anybody on this defense, I think that's the guy.
The easy one.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm with you because like the weird football nerd in me gets excited about the idea of being able to trot out Goldman and Tonga, with Gibson and Bilal in like on early downs when you know that they're going to be running the ball more often, right? Like that you can get physical, that you can do these things to control the line of scrimmage. Because Eddie's a better pass rusher than I think he gets credit for. But he's usually
totally agree. And he has not been asked to do that, Cars.
No.
He's been the guy to get out there and eat the guys. And if they let him, and this is my number one thing with this defense. Hey, listen, I know you can live by the sword, die by the sword, die by the sword. I want to see Sean Desai come out, and I just want him to have the fuck it mentality. And I want this defense, when they are unleashed, you can feel it.
Yes.
When they're
excited.
Yes, you can feel it. It's almost hard to breathe when you just see a team in attack mode constantly. And it doesn't matter if it's 3rd and 1, it doesn't matter if it's 3rd and 33, it doesn't matter if it's 2nd and 2. We're fucking coming and you fucking stop us. And that mentality hasn't been around in Chicago in forever.
Since Buddy, I mean, like one of my I used to have this tape that I would watch of the Super Bowl season, and it was Buddy Ryan.
Yeah,
and he's like, we're not good enough to come at you with 4. If we need to bring 8, we're gonna bring 8. We're not gonna just sit there and let you pick us apart. And I think that was my problem with Chuck, was that he was content. Like, we'll go zone, we'll do this, we'll make them make the play.
Yep.
And Buddy's attitude, and again, this is completely homer, but Buddy's attitude was like, no, I'm going to bring hell and fury, and you're going to have to make a play in a very quick amount of time, or else it's over. And that to me, like, when you talk about offense, I want a big play offense. I want a play that's going to stretch the field. But on defense, I'm okay if you blitz 100% of the time and just bring it, right? Like, just fly around the field And that's really what I'm hoping for Desai.
Cars, we got to the point last year with Chuck, and I mean, I was so disappointed in the lack of creativity. It was
got
so
too much
fucking
from Baltimore,
right? It
yeah.
was so vanilla. But what got me was I got to the point as a fan and as an analyst and somebody that breaks this down. I got to the point when it was 3rd and 10 plus. I had no confidence.
Oh, I had confidence that they would convert.
Oh no, that's what I mean. I had no confidence that, and there used to be a point back in the day. You're like, oh shit, 3rd and +4, it was over. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're off and that was it. And I mean, Jesus, we saw 3rd and 14s, 3rd and 18s, 3rd and 22,
and we're not talking screenplays either, right? Like we're talking. No, you're absolutely right. Like, you used to be able to when Vic was the defensive coordinator and it was 3rd down. When you were at that stadium, everybody believed that a stop was coming.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody, like the stadium got loud. Everything. The stadium still would get loud, but it wasn't. It like the belief wasn't there. It was more people like, no, they're going to break my heart on this. They're going to convert. It was debilitating as a fan, right? Like we're used to being bad, but I don't want to be bad on defense. And when you're bad at defense, it was like, what am I even watching right now? That's when I'm going to go take a bathroom break now, is when we're on defense.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't trust these guys anymore.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see how this all unfolds. And like I said, I don't want to spend a ton of time on the defense, but real quick, Josh, Cars, quick. You guys talk about, we went to the corners a little bit, but talk about the safeties and kind of your expectations there. I mean, obviously number 4, Eddie, is the big one, but speak on maybe what your guys' expectations are from everybody after Eddie Jackson and who you think is going to be, maybe we get into the midpoint of the season, who's going to be stepping up or who do you expect to be, the guys, the main focal points there?
Josh, you want to start?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, I mean, it all starts with Jalen Johnson. Of course, his shoulder holds up. He's our cornerback 1. And then we're moving on to, I think Eddie Jackson is going to be key for this defense. We need Eddie to be back to his ball hawking skills. I think he got paid, and I don't know if it was like, he just doesn't want to put his shoulder down and make the tackle. I think he's always going for the strip. And then he ends up 5-10 yards down the field trying to strip the ball.
Yep.
Instead of cutting the legs out, I know if he's going up against a bigger tight end or a fullback or something like that, he's got to go low, and he just tends to go high and tries to pull the ball. So, So I'm sure that can be coached out, and hopefully he's back into his ball hawking days. And then Tashawn Gibson, solid. I think if he holds up, without any injuries, of course, he'll be solid, but not spectacular. And then, Trufant is going to be the one that we hopefully he can step up and stay healthy too. I'm not sure. We got with Vildor and Shelley, and Deion Bush. And, we always say, Deion Bush is going to come out of nowhere and be this solid safety that we want. I mean, he's okay, but I wouldn't hold my breath too much on him. And I think, DHC can really help, solidify the secondary. So.
No, I think if Deion Bush, to your point, became the guy, then we wouldn't have re-signed Gibson, right? Like if he was really the guy,
he's definitely not the guy, but he's just depth, and he's good depth.
Yeah, no, he's solid depth. No, I tend to agree. Like I'm very excited to see Trufant if he can stay healthy, because I still believe he's got some great coverage skills. He's still up there, but it's really going to come down to that nickel position, because it's good. That's where you're going to see a lot of the biggest issues. And if if Thomas Graham really is the guy that we want him to be, I mean, just from he's got decent enough size, he's decent enough in physicality, right? If he can show some of that in a short area burst, I think it'd be way better for us if he took over than Duke Shelley. I think he's a guy that we need to step up. I'm really excited about Vildor. I thought initially that they were going to try to push him to a nickel corner when they came in, and they kind of thankfully kept him outside. But I really think it's going to start with the nickel. And again, it's homerish, but like our best defenses had guys like Bryce Callahan really playing that position well. Like R.W. McQuarters used to play the slot pretty well before we moved him outside. Like that slot position is probably more important than the outside guys to me. And so I'm really looking forward
today's
to
NFL.
that.
I totally agree, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you see the Bears making that shift, putting their best wide receiver inside, and that's for a reason. It's to create all those mismatches inside, and you're going to see that fundamental shift there. I thought Bullets is Artie Burns still on the roster? He is. That's going to be an interesting name. I mean, the Bears, like I said, they have depth, but it's all unproven. I mean, Artie Burns, he's got to wait. He's a former first-round pick, Pittsburgh. I think that everybody was probably shocked that he went where he went, but he tore his ACL last year. He brings a speed element to the game. The interesting guy, I saw his name brought up too, Trey Roberson. I'm interested to see what he can do there. That's a name. The Bears, I'm blanking on the guy's name. They've kept him around for a couple of years. Well, that's the other guy that I know that the Bears actually love, but there's another guy. I believe he started with Miami.
The only other two guys I can think of, Xavier Crawford.
Yeah, Xavier Crawford is the name. He's a guy that's stuck kind of behind the scenes, practice squad guy, and it's going to be interesting to see if he does. But Cars, you hit it right there. Michael Joseph is the name that I think that the Bears front office and coaches are very high on. He's been getting nicked up every year in training camp, and it's been early, so you haven't really seen much of him. But,
I'm also interested to see Tease Tabor, right? Who he's someone who missed big time at Detroit.
Yeah.
But it's also
speed
Detroit.
Is the big issue there. I don't know if they're gonna. Do they have him still listed at corner?
I think so. Well, they have them all listed at DB, so I think they're very crazy in the name. He's just intriguing because of the prospect he used to be.
Yep.
I don't know what he's going to be, but you always take a swing at talent anytime you can.
Oh, especially at that position.
But I mean, think about it. That position, wide receiver, defensive line, offensive line, like outside of quarterback, you can pick any area on that team that you're excited to look at and watch and develop, and you're not picking a wrong group. And defensive backs, that's going to be a fun one because it feels like that we've got like 40 defensive backs under contract, and so that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. I mean, it all starts up front. If we can get pass rush, our secondary will obviously look a lot better. So it starts up front. Yeah. Put some pressure on the quarterback. It helps our secondary.
I totally forgot too that we have Pennell as well that we added.
That's
Akeem Hicks portion.
That's what I'm saying, man. This is to me. Listen, I think that this is something that they're going to explore, and depending on if Kendall Vildor steps up, maybe you see Akeem flip for a corner that somebody that's got some. Somebody that they missed out on, or somebody that they're high on, because that's what these pro personnel guys, that's all they do. They're scouring every fucking roster that the Bears have a book on everybody in college that came out, and they're like, oh shit, we thought we could get this guy as a UDFA. He signed in Denver. Denver invested heavily in the cornerbacks, up high in the draft. So this guy may fall by the wayside. We can flip this guy here, get this guy back, and maybe a late round pick, and that's how that's the business of football. Listen, it's got to make sense for both sides, and I know Bears fans tend to fall in love and want their players to stay forever, but it's just you get in too much trouble in today's NFL being that way. You have to have the mentality of it's better to move on. Listen, are the Bears Super Bowl contenders this year? Are you putting them on a pedestal with Kansas City and teams like that? I mean, if we're being realistic, we can't call them Super Bowl contenders. So that's why you give yourself more bullets in the gun to a guy that can potentially be here when Justin Fields takes over the reins officially. This is his franchise, officially in 2022, where every single pick, every move has to be, made with him in mind. And that's, as much as I love Akeem Hicks, I just, as a general manager wannabe, the guy that's head of a team, you can't discount it as much as it hurts.
No.
So
I think if it's Vegas, you're talking even odds, right?
Yeah,
that he's here or gone. Absolutely.
Yep. So, but from there, we're going to transition. Like I said, we're going to spend a ton of time on the defense. But Jack, will get your stuff ready there. You know where we're heading with this. We are going to do one segment, and surprisingly enough, it's not going to be tweets, but this is one of my favorite songs for this segment, and we're going to roll that here and jump headfirst right into this. So here we go.
Philatosion, Shayne Marsaw, the Tape Never Lies Network.
A bear up, a bear down. It's Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man around. A bear up, a bear down. It's Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man around. A bear up, a bear down. It's Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man around. A bear up, a bear down. It's Draft Dr. Phil and the smartest man around. A bear up. This week, Draft Dr. Phil and Shayne Marsaw, the smartest man. Bear ups and bear downs of the week.
There we go, and I better add this guy, Mr. Meth himself.
Hello, and thank you for the kind words, Shayne.
Instead of Method Man, we've got Meth Man. It's our own version of the
that's like a real thing, like that's cool. I'm so glad that parallel has been drawn. It's just awesome. So
Josh doesn't look like he's paying attention. His cheeks are getting red. I don't know if he's on porn right now, not paying attention. Bear up, bear down, or what's going on.
What are you watching over there, Josh?
Clear that history, bro.
Yeah, seriously, Brazzers.com. What are we doing over there?
Jackal, you're running. Yes! We have a little bit different format with Bear Up, Bear Down that we may continue on into the season here, where we really don't know. Before it was pretty simple, where we would take the Bear Up, Bear Down player, but we may make the transition and keep this format of it, where Jackal's gonna put a bunch of things together and take his top 5, and we're gonna give them a Bear Up or Bear Down going from there. So tell us what you got there, Mr. Jackal.
Well, hey, first off, you got like almost 3 hours of straight football talk, so not for nothing, but
imagine
you took
football
a
podcast talking about football.
I imagine that, that's what it is.
How could we ever pull it off?
That's why it's going to be.
Is it a one-way ticket?
Yeah.
Is it a one-way ticket?
I think so. We'll tell him when he gets.
Who one of the thumbs downs is going to be on YouTube, right?
I love it. But I mean, the fact that we spoke about so much football, the list definitely got a little smaller, right? But I think there's a couple things I wanted to circle back on and talk about. First is the impact that COVID has had so far early on in the NFL. With you saw that DiFilippo wasn't there today, right? And so the Bears are one of the teams over 85%. But do you see the COVID having an impact on this Bears team going into 2021? And if so, what type of impact do you see?
Yeah, I mean, I'll kick it off. I would say, I guess yes would be Bear Up. I think it's going to have an impact for everybody. I mean, you see the Colts had 2 or 3 players go on the COVID list today, and they made. It was funny. They added 3 guys to the COVID-19 protocol list, and then following right after was signings at those positions that they were announcing. And I just think that's what it is. And this is something that can fly in the face of what my theory was with Akeem Hicks. And this is exactly why you build depth at positions, especially. Listen, everybody wants to have depth on the defensive line. Not a lot of teams have it, and Chicago really does. And that's a credit to Ryan Pace, Josh Lucas, all of these guys. And you can is thin as known talent is at cornerback. It's the same thing. They have talent there. It's just untapped and unproven. They have, their strength in numbers, and I can't sit there, I have my questions with Artie Burns. I mean, athletically, I think he's kind of what you want, but is he a shoo-in to make the roster? No, I don't think so by any stretch of the imagination. But I think, if you're asking me if it's going to have an impact, I mean, it will, and listen, I'm not going to. Things like this, even talking about this, people in the chat can say I can already tell where this will go, and it'll be a fucking political.
That's why I kind of brought it up, though. Honestly.
Yeah, and that's I don't want to get into politics or anything like here, but I think 100% it's going to have an impact. I have season tickets to Syracuse football, and my son is 10 years old, and so he doesn't, he doesn't even have the ability to be vaccinated if that's the route that we went. So every home game that he wants to enter the Carrier Dome with me, he's got to get a COVID test. Mm-hmm. And then even then he's got to have his mask on the entire time. So I don't see how you can go any other way saying that it's if you're saying it's not going to have an impact. I don't know. I guess I'd be interested to see who would take that avenue, saying that it's going to be a non-factor. I don't see any other way.
We're going to have full stadium. We're going to be full. Stadiums be full to the gills.
I'd be shocked if they stayed full to the gills. To be honest,
I'm with you, but I hear you. At but least Goodell has put that out there. The owners have signed those. They're ready. That's a lot of money. Was it $70 million a game they miss out on every time they don't have people at full stadium?
Well, and again, that's why they're threatening, to find teams and hold them accountable, right? And I think, you for sure look at this, right? The owners want all that money. I think part of the reason, Shayne, you and I always expected the cap to go up even more than it showed to be next year. Yeah. And I think the NFL is planning for COVID to still be an impact because, let's be real, with the money deal that just got signed, the cap should go up $40 million next year, not 20.
True.
Right. And so I think that fact alone leads them to believe that COVID is going to be a problem. And every time Cole Beasley speaks out, right, like I hammer more money on Buffalo losing a game, a forfeit in a game because of it.
Yeah, and I think the average is each home team makes about $70 million a game.
Yep.
And I think that's
they made
insane,
zero.
Man. Yeah,
they made zero last year, and it's such a trick for these guys because it's all just an accounting thing, right? Like they all say they lose money owning these teams, and it's ridiculous how they're allowed to do it.
Totally.
So
Lamar Jackson just got COVID for a second time. I mean, that's what I heard him say today.
And the variants are insane, right? Like we're talking about Delta, and there's already a Gamma out there. So it's going to be the next year minimally, but more likely it's 1 to 2 years still that this is going to impact everything in the NFL. So bear up for that for me.
Yeah.
Josh?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an impact on the NFL this year. So, I mean, not everybody got vaccinated. Not that that's the underlying issue because there's variants. So I'm just so sick of this fucking COVID thing like everybody else.
Yeah.
So, I just think it's just going to have an impact on the NFL, and hopefully they're going to roll with it, and hopefully we'll go as long as we can until the numbers go up, and then we have to make a decision, and then the NFL is going to come down. So I guess it's going to be a bear up.
Okay.
Clean sweep, Jackal.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that, man. I just figured to get that out of the way early. I know that right now, guys that do test positive, I think it's like a 10-day waiting period. So if that happens during the season, so during the season, you could potentially miss 2 games.
Yeah.
So it's something to think about. And we'll dive deep in the fantasy side later on next week. But nonetheless, I'm going to go to the second bear up, if you will. Now we talked about it earlier on with the injuries on this team. It's early. What's it, second or third day? Here we go. I don't know what time it is, if it's the third day of training camp, but we got Eddie Jackson, Tevin Jenkins, Fetty, Robert Quinn, Bilal Nichols, and I think that's the 5 that didn't practice this week. We sat Hicks out for God knows what reason. Could be working out a trade. Who knows? Any of those injuries really kind of majorly concern you, or is this just par for the course early on, nicks, scratches, bumps, bruises type of thing?
Both.
The Tevin Jenkins one, to me, just like I said, and it's probably me overreacting because I don't want to say he's just as important as Justin Fields, but he's 1B.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the defense, the defensive players. I don't think that Eddie Jackson, I know there's a lot of questions about him. If he misses the preseason to get ready for week 1, I don't think that's
He'll miss tackles just fine.
Yeah, exactly. I just, if you're
well said, Cars.
Yeah, I just, it is what it is. And I understand you want all of these guys to play. I myself would be more upset if Kendall Vildor, Thomas Graham, Larry Borum, Tevin Jenkins, those guys are missing valuable reps in preseason games.
Yes.
Eddie Jackson has been there. Yeah, does he have to improve 100%? Totally get it. Bilal's biggest thing is he doesn't need the reps so much. Bilal's got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
He wants to get paid, and that's listen, they say, you can't make the club in the tub. Well, you can't get that new paper if you're not fucking playing, and that's, again, it speaks to the depth on this team. But to me, it's all, listen, number 1 to me right now is Tevin Jenkins. And it's just, it's the nature of the position when you're talking about a big human being like that. And the young man, when you have back issues, and the way to look at it, though, he's carrying in a free weight into training camp. So I'm like, maybe it's not so bad. They're just erring on the side of caution. It tightened up, so they're like, all right, big guy, just take it easy for a couple of days. I'm hoping that's what it is, because the Bears have done that a lot. They get a little
pulling
tweak.
a golf cart today too.
Yeah.
Like he was doing some actual stuff that if your back is bad as a 6'6" guy, you're not doing.
Yeah. So to me, it's, I don't know how this works out to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, the injuries being a major concern. Versus
it's always a concern. Just to me, that the injuries on defense aren't as magnified as offense, just because I think the offense as a whole, if Tevin Jenkins misses all of preseason and then you're opening up Sunday Night Football with him at left tackle with no preseason reps, that's a fucking problem.
Yeah. Hello, Aaron Donald.
Huge. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, you got anything else to add?
Simple.
I'm Robert Quinn concerns me. I know he's a veteran, but
that's a good
he
one.
really concerns me because his contract is huge, and dead money on the bench isn't going to help this team at all. So if we could kind of save him, maybe use him as a KGB, just pass rush specialist, and only come on third downs. maybe that'll help. Maybe he'll get after the quarterback a little better than he's doing now.
Okay.
So that's Robert Quinn. Definitely, I'm concerned about that injury because he's a lot of money.
Yep.
Nope. Hicks was a guy that I wanted to talk about today, but we definitely dove deep into that one. So, you know, I think that's something we're going to just kind of slide on by. But there's a couple topics that are kind of important. One of them has to deal with another team, you know, not mentioning any names, but, you know, there's going to be a power shift. It looks like a power shift has already happened. And, you know, some ships are going to be sailing out in Green Bay at the end of the season. You know, I know there was a conversation in the chat that he's got 2 years in Green Bay left, but to my understanding, they made it so they could void the end of his contract, and this was his last year in Green Bay. But it could be wrong.
So they voided the 2023 season.
Yeah.
But what they did do is they changed the contract. So if he sat out, held out, or threatened retirement after this season, Green Bay could not come back at him for the money.
The salary cap. Okay.
So now when he legitimately would say, like, I'm not playing again, I'm retiring unless you trade me, they can't be like, well, we're coming for the 27
Give me
million.
some bread. Yeah. Man.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden they're out that money.
And that essentially tells you what, Cars, that
he's gone. I mean, and if you follow the rest of that, right? Like Devontae Adams looks to be gone. Zadarius Smith looks to be unhappy and trying to underplay that. You know, like it is not just an Aaron thing. This is propagated itself all the way through. And I think, so to piggyback on it, sorry, and I have no idea, and I completely interrupted the question, but like when you look at like what I expect happen in Minnesota this year, them to take a back seat, right? They'll probably be starting over with a new head coach at that point. You know, Dan Campbell is going to be the best gift that this division has gotten for anybody that's not a Lions fan, because that guy has no business.
Kneecaps at a time.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you look at this and all of a sudden, you know, it's not, if Justin Fields is who we think he is, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that we're in the best situation for the next immediate 5 years more than anybody else. Sorry, I totally went off.
No, I think, and that's kind of what I was alluding to. And I know we didn't really I just wanted to say the impact that, you know, the Rodgers thing has in the NFC, you know, in the North.
If it goes bad early, that is a recipe for disaster. I mean, that press conference was glorious. And it's how he handled it. He said everything the right way. He said it professionally. And I think, you know, what we always heard is it's not, you know, like Packers fans always said it's a money thing. It's a money thing. No, he didn't. He left money on the table. He made it known exactly what it is. And if you don't think, like we talked earlier, people are going to talk about Justin Fields and what that means. And if he plays really well, that's going to draw people here. But you don't think if you're anybody and you watch how the Green Bay Packers just did Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, what do you think you're going to do? You can't.
Cars, we lived it in a different sport here.
With crowds.
Well, even then, it's the Garpax era,
Yeah,
right? Like
that's what
even
I mean,
more locally, when Jimmy Butler's personal trainer shit all over the franchise. I mean, like literally, like this is the worst run organization you've ever seen. They don't give a shit about the players. They don't care about this. They don't like. That's where they are right now, whether they want to admit it or not. And so what I'm looking really forward to is when the first bit of turbulence hits. The first game that they lose that they shouldn't. Or what happens? I know that Aaron says he likes LaFleur, but like, what happens if he goes for a field goal again instead of going to win the game? Like, it is a recipe that, again, I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, and the only reason you make this move is if you think that you don't trade him, is if you think you're going to win a Super Bowl. But my God, like, I'm going to be enjoying watching this because I want to see something go wrong, just to see the shit that's going to blow up all over the sidelines. it's going to be incredible.
And like Gutekunst can't even help himself. Like today, I think he said, Devontae Adams and I have a clear difference in what top paid wide receivers get. And so, like, I'm like, dude, you just went through this with Aaron Rodgers, and now you're going to step in another pile of shit with Devontae. I mean, you're already doing it anyway, but you just doubled down today. It was like, dude, this guy wanted, like, they're gonna fire that dude. Like, it's like, holy shit.
If you believe in Jordan Love, you're re-signing Devontae Adams because you know you need to pair those two guys up. If you don't believe in Jordan Love, then you're going to let him go, and you're going to either trade, like franchise him or something to get some picks back. If you just let him go, like that tells you how little you believe in the offensive skill players that you've added. So I don't know what he's doing, but it feels very much like Gar Foreman, and I am all here for it. I will eat this up all day. I will love this.
Yeah, and so like I said, just to go back to the COVID thing, I see it's a big debate here, and that's
is it turned into one? Sorry,
no. It's hey, that's what we want to spur debate, but I said I concentrate on football.
Yeah. And opinions are opinions, guys.
Like
everybody can have one. It's okay.
And it's just, not everybody has to agree. I know it's a volatile topic with a lot of people, and it is what it is. Not everybody's going to agree. Everybody's going to have their own outlook on it, and
we all love the Bears right here, and we're all trying to
exactly. End of the day, we're all Bears fans, and
well, let me shift gears, Shayne, because I'm gonna. There's something, and it's funny. Jamie Briggs just brought it up, but the new Hawkeye replay system that the NFL is implementing, and it's not Bears related, but it still is going to be Bears related, as I'm sure we're going to have a few replays
we play
this
the
year.
Packers, and they get all the fucking calls, so it's gonna.
But so the fact that they have they're able to do 360 view on anything from anywhere, and what I learned was the TV producers were the ones giving the videos to the fucking officials.
Yeah, well, dude, that's the fucking thing, Jackal. It was their technology in every stadium was so, I don't want to say antiquated, but it wasn't the same.
It was like Phil's internet.
Yeah, exactly. Who?
Phil's internet.
No, I meant my internet. My bad. Sorry.
Ooh, yeah.
But no, I'm just saying, you would think that there would be the same amount of cameras in the same spots in every single stadium. It's just like we see the bullshit today with the NFL fucking over the fans and fucking over what we do here with the NFL Game Pass and the all 22 isn't going to be ready. It's bullshit. It's a $1 billion industry, and they take shit like this. I mean, how many times, why it is? It's actually pretty simple. Why? Because it spurs fucking debate. A call that goes wrong, everybody's talking about it. Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday,
Friday
Wednesday,
morning,
and it's keeping it in. The NFL isn't. You think that Roger Goodell and these guys are sitting back and saying, "Oh shit, that call was blown"? No, it's adding to what they fucking want, and it's where they're magicians. And dude, it's a 12-month a year
soap opera of the season, if you will.
That's what it is. But back to the Hawkeye system. I mean, it's 2021. That shit should have been implemented long ago.
How the XFL did it with a fraction of the budget, and instead we've been paying Al Riveron to overturn like really basic plays, right? Like, and just make awful calls. It's beyond me. They used to be the league that innovates, and they really don't anymore. I think the NBA has surpassed them in all of their innovation.
No, I totally agree, Cars. And that's, what is short is fan for fanatic is short for, or fan is short for
fanatic.
Fanatic, Jesus, I can't talk there. I'm not used to talking this much.
So he's got more words out today than you had.
Yeah.
Since
and it's marriage too. I mean, it's double-sided. Yeah.
But that's they have all of us over the barrel. And I mean, here we are on a podcast streaming to everybody around the world that wants to listen to us, and we're talking about the Chicago Bears. We're talking about DHC. DeAndre Houston Carson, third string / fourth string / special teams guy, and we're devoting 10 minutes to him on our show because we love it and it matters, and we live and die with every friggin' part of this this sport, this football team, and they know. And it's like when you look back on it and say, you remember when we implemented the no Chicago Bears swag, whatever you want to call it, merch, that nobody's going to buy the stuff,
Right.
and it's that's like a sickness with some people. You know what I mean? Can you imagine if you went out and said, this team, until this team starts winning, no Justin Fields jerseys? It would never fucking happen. It's just they know who we are. We're fucking brainwashed, and we'll
every sport would love to have the fans that
God.
the NFL do, right?
Yeah,
and the average fan, I'm a Bulls fan and I'm an avid Bulls fan, but I don't spend a fraction on them than I do the Bears. I mean,
me too.
I have maybe 3 Bulls things and I have like 50 Bears, right? It's the way that it is. And so, it's all built in.
Yeah.
Actually, the Bulls got a pick coming up here.
Yeah, I'm watching.
They'll screw it up. Don't worry.
Who's it going to be, Cars? Make your call, and if we're on our
I want it to be Sharif Cooper has fallen, and that's who I want it to be.
Yeah. Sharif Abdul-Rahim.
Oh, God, he was so much fun to watch.
We take him, too.
Absolutely.
Better than half the guys on the roster. But,
Josh, you got any thoughts on the
thinking about like not the replay. I was talking about how we're all fans and fanatics, and I was thinking about this movie Fever Pitch, and they're watching. They just watch the Red Sox get crushed by the Yankees, and they're sitting there drinking beers, and they look over and like Trot Nixon and a couple of the real players are just having a good time, and they're like, "Wait a minute, they just lost a huge game, and we're over fans here." That not getting paid, and we can't even eat for a week. And it just goes to show you that some of these players, it's just a job for them. And but I wish that the players had as much, I guess, gusto, whatever you want to call it. They were fanatics just like us, because another part was The Last Dance when Scottie Pippen started to say, "I didn't want to fuck up my summer." A lot of times we forget that they're millionaires and they go around and they don't live for the season. They live for the off season.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think we all forget that. And I mean,
imagine if Khalil Mack did that.
Oh.
Or can you imagine? I mean, it would be 24/7, 365 flame fest from fans, from media, from NFL Network would lead. That story.
Remember when Cam forget to stick his arm in after that ball, and Cam was crucified for, shit, he still does catch some ribbons about that. I mean, it's a business decision.
We had a helicopter fly over Soldier Field to watch Cody Parkey practice kicks at Soldier Field. Like, think about that. If Khalil, to your point, if Khalil Mack did that, there would be a chopper with like scenes of him at his pool at his house or doing something. And they'd be taking pictures of it. Absolutely, you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I wish
Chicago.
That's Ryan Pace's. It's a really tough job. You got to find out the guys that's the alphas that want it, and the other guys that love the lifestyle.
Yep.
They're millionaires. They can go around the world, fly around on jets, and make love to beautiful women.
Yeah.
It's not a bad off season, I guess.
Not a bad at all. No.
Keeping it 100, Josh. There you go. There you go. I love it. So I'm going to wrap it up here, right? So we talked about Anthony Miller. We did that already, so we can't bear up and bear down that trade, because I feel like we did that to exhausted that point to death with the receiving room. And
none of that. I know somebody asked in the chat if we had talked about it.
Yeah.
I mean, listen,
Anthony,
you could have went out there and Anthony Miller could have put up, 752 yards and 6 touchdowns, and the Bears were going to have to give him a contract extension to keep him here. And I just think that listen, part of building a team, and we see the upside in a player like Anthony Miller. I totally understand it. It's there. The day-to-day matters. They see him each and every day. They see what time he gets to the complex, what time he's leaving, what he's doing while he's there. They see what he's putting into his body, if he's taking it serious.
His relationships.
We don't have access to that. And like I said, Ryan Pace thought enough of this kid to trade up in the second round. And listen, quarterback played into it, obviously. But at the same time, I mean, the Bears have a need at wide receiver. They just do.
Yeah.
They just
do. You think Justin Hardy or John Vay Johnson have any sort of sniff the 53 man, or are we going to go out like we talked about before, and those are just bodies for camp?
I think they're bodies. You know, Shayne, just to echo your point, every offseason and every season we kept hearing the same thing from Furry and from Nagy, that they love his talent, but that, you know, they needed him mentally to be there every week, every game. And, you know, when of every player that George McCaskey could mention in a press conference, that was the one that he messed up and picked, right? Like, that's the one name that stood out to George McCaskey. You knew it was done. You knew
Bulls took AO.
You know, I like it. I'm surprised. Cooper is such a good passer. I don't know why that happened, but that's a solid move.
There you go.
Yep. So, but yeah, is that any more of that?
I mean, the last one was just, you know, talking about Nagy talking about Fields and leaving that window open about the possibility of him starting. And what I was going to ask was bear up, bear down. Fields starting week 1.
So,
yeah, like I'll kick it off just to end the segment, and then we can go around the horn. I'm different than I think what the Bears are going to do. So I'm doing this from what I expect the Bears to do perspective. So I'm going to say bear down, because I just don't think that the Bears really, unless he just goes out there and it's evident that Andy Dalton is washed, and I just don't expect that. I think him to be competent plus, you know, steady.
He's already shown that too.
Yeah, and I just think the Bears want to buy time with the offensive line and to work out maybe some of the kinks with the wide receivers, with the new guys, to get things going. And then, you know, I've always thought like the week 4, week 5, week 6 range is where you're gonna see the outside pressure, because guys, listen, we haven't seen the fucking excitement in this town in a very long time, and it's a result of one kid and one kid only. And listen, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, all of these guys, they weren't bringing the fucking swag, the energy. No matter if we took any of those guys, it wasn't going to be on the same level as Justin Fields. It just was not going to be. The Bears don't usually get those guys. They got one, and I think the pressure is going to be ramped up. And listen, you can't fucking sit there and listen to Matt Nagy talk about Justin Fields and not see
he's further
the
along.
Fucking enthusiasm.
Dude, these guys pitching a freaking tent underneath the podium, dude. He's so excited, man.
He's further along than they expected. And I think, you know, we started this off with the door opened, or has opened a bit more for Fields to start. But I'm with Shayne. Like, if you look at week 4, it's Detroit. Week 5, it's Oakland, right? That's 2 really subpar defenses that don't have a lot of pass rush. You know, it makes sense as those being 2 early landing places for him. But I don't read too much into this. He didn't have great practices.
Yeah.
He had very standard rookie quarterback. I have to learn to do these things. The practice is faster now than it's been for him in the past. Games will be the same. So we expect these road bumps. And again, he's a guy equipped to do it. So I'm really looking week 4 at Detroit, because he can follow that up with Oakland and then be ready to go.
Sorry, Josh, just real quick though, Cars, you know, do you think with Nagy saying that, and what is the motivation behind you? Because he knows by opening that door just a little bit, is that more motivation for Dalton, or was that more motivation for Justin to try to get him to like kick it into another gear, or was that just coach speak and just trying to satisfy the media, give them something to drool over and talk about on a podcast?
No, I think it's real because he doused the flames so many times early on.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Like
What changed?
He said, "Well, so I think they expected some bumps that simply just haven't been there." And again, it's a credit to Justin and everything that we've seen about how much time he's spent in the room, how he's practicing going on his phone call, getting on a phone call with Flip and calling out plays and working on his cadence and getting through those things. And now he's seeing pro defenses for the first time. So I think that I really do think that this is more of a holy shit, he's farther along at this point than we expected.
Yeah.
And that's what's really got them excited.
Okay. Cool. Appreciate you following that up.
Hey, there's your new guard, Cars.
All right, let's do it.
I mean, is he gonna play when Derrick Rose gets there or what?
Yeah,
that can't be their move.
He's coming.
It's gonna be Lonzo Ball. That's gonna be their move.
Lonzo could wear some green. I would be disappointed. So
nobody wants to play for the.
Hey, take it easy.
I'm
All
sorry.
right, fine. You're right. I mean, never mind. This is a football show, Cars. Jesus, Shayne, why'd you put a basketball player up here?
Sorry.
I know. There's Bulls fans in there.
I'm just I know HL Priest is yelling at me. Bullets is yelling at me. He's a Lakers fan.
Nobody yeah. How are you a Bears fan and a Lakers fan? You should be rooting for the Cowboys and the Yankees. Anyway, let's. I'm kidding, Bullets.
That was perfect. Well done.
I'm kidding.
Yankees made a trade. The Lakers made a trade. It's a great day in Cowboys fans.
Those Dodgers, baby. Sure.
Nobody cares about the Dodgers.
They're gonna win it again. They're just as greedy as the 2000 Yankees. They're showing.
I love it. Let the hate run through your veins.
My favorite player is a Dodger now, so it sucks, dude. Mookie Betts.
Yeah,
what are you gonna do? Anyway, if he could run and catch passes, he'd be a Bear and he'd be awesome. But that is the Bear Up, Bear Down segment this evening, gentlemen and gentlemen.
Thank you.
What about me, man? Josh, I apologize.
Oh.
I'm going to shut the front door and let you speak.
No, I'm just going to actually. I was waiting for that, Jackal. I'm going Bear Up. The reason why is this. He's a competitor, okay? So Justin Fields, he's that guy that starting shortstop. He's the guy in high school that always kicked your ass in every sport. No matter if it was ping pong or whatever. And he is an alpha male. If he's ready now, they're going to start him. But if he's not, obviously they're not going to start him. But I think he can probably get there because he's a stud. He runs a 4.4. He's shredded. The guy's got arms like freaking tree trunks and legs like the same. I mean, this guy's a beast. And his accuracy, I just think he's such a competitor that he's going to take this team and just run with it. Now, maybe he won't be ready by the time training camp rolls around. They start week 3, but hey, I'm hoping he's what I think he is. So that's why I'm going to roll with it.
Did we extend the segment for that?
Yeah.
Answer from. I'm kidding, Josh. I'm just.
and Nagy even said it today. No, but to Josh's point, Nagy said it today. The presser. I mean, he said the biggest thing about Justin, outside of all, is that 4.4 speed. Like to be able to add that to the offense at the quarterback. Like he had, literally, he was gushing, talking about it. And I think. I'm with Shayne, Cars, and Josh for the main part. I see him probably getting that week 5, week 6 start. As much as I would love to see him be ready for week 1, I also think, unfortunately, if it doesn't go as well as we want, that just buys Nagy another year next year. Yeah. But nonetheless, that just means we're going to get a full season of Justin Fields, and I'm not going to complain about that. So,
there we go.
Yes, sir.
That's going to bring us to this portion of our show, Jackal, the Spencer Strong shout-out segment. That means we're getting ready to wrap up. I know I was taking some grief from people that are like, oh, Shayne's running the show. It's going to be an hour show. We're getting done early, but
I even said that to my wife.
Yeah, we're pushing midnight here, but we covered a lot of ground, man. A lot of football talk, and that's my favorite part. So we're gonna pop in here. We'll do another good song in this segment. So we'll get through that, and then we'll get into the shout outs before we wrap this puppy up. So here we go.
Shout out Tape Never Lies. Shout out, I know you hear me, baby. Shout out, I know you see me, baby. Shout out, we gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew, gotta show love too. Shout out, I know you hear me, baby. Shout out, I know you see me, baby. Shout out, we gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew, gotta show love too. From the fans in the stands to the follows on the gram. Thanks for your support, showing love in the DM. We stay Spencer strong, fight together till the end. Now it's time to shout out worldwide friends and fam. Like
the network that keeps it real, 100 crew. So many in the world that I gotta show love to. For some this policy the show is at its end, but for me it's so important to thank the charter members and the fans. Built the network, speak the truth through the tape. Never run around the truth, no narratives we create. Set them straight, no bubble screen on 4th and 8. Audio Shayne getting nervous cause keeping them up too late. That's it, no more to say they get the shot of vital. But hurry up cause the postman's getting homicidal.
Shout out, I know you hear me, baby. Shout out, I know you see me, baby. Shout out, we gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew, gotta show love too. Shout out, I know you hear me, baby. Shout out, I know you see me, baby. Shout out, we gotta holla at you. Keep it 100 crew, gotta show love too.
The network that keeps it real, Spencer strong.
Everybody thinks of Claudio at the end of that song, right? His favorite part there at the end.
He's charging the Pope $70 to cut his hair, but nonetheless.
My God, can you imagine those poor Italians overpaying for Claude's haircuts?
Oh Jesus!
I tell you.
Well played.
Double price on the kids.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
No, that's all me there.
Well, I like that, Shayne.
Yeah. So we gotta jump in here, get everybody. We'll put the smooth beat of Cool Kennedy in the background while we jump in here. But Josh E, welcome to the fray, man.
Man.
Network.
Hey,
you kicked ass tonight, dude.
Awesome.
Josh, you were awesome.
Yeah, speak on it.
Are you keeping it 100, Jackal, or what? You just fucking bullshit.
Oh, I am definitely keeping it 100, man. You brought it tonight, man. I was impressed.
Right,
I was really impressed. You're studying. Not that you studied it all, but I think you knew your shit, dude. You fucking had a lot of fans in the chat too, just so you know. And not 100 crew aside.
Well, they're plants. They're plants. They're my friends.
Hey,
family.
Good. Smart move.
That's how you're supposed to do it, Josh. You know,
I think we had 20 likes. I think we had 20 likes at 2:00 today.
There you go.
Well done.
But Josh, speak on it, man. I know it's been we had to push it back a day because I had some family stuff going on.
I mean, the anticipation and all that is always the ramp up and your first time, and but once you laugh a couple times, it's just like you're talking to your buddies, and that's who you guys are, and that's who 100 crew is, man. I mean, I've talked to a couple of the 100 crew members personally this week, and they are like, we're all cut from the same cloth. I mean, it's unbelievable. We have like musical tastes, baseball, and then just life. Yeah. And I'm going to shout out, 100 crew. I'm going to shout out you guys, Cars, Jackal, Shayne. You guys are awesome. Shout out Draft Dr. Phil. Got to do it. It's end of the show. Love him too.
Never heard of him.
I know. There were some small shoes to fill.
Well done,
Keds,
Josh.
they're Keds.
Keds with Velcro. So let me just shout out the quick 100 crew because I have them like typed up here. It's really easy. Logan, of course, Alex H, HL, Priest, Bullets, Cameron, Beige, Gustavo, Richard, John C, AJ, Steph, Bears and Cigars, Otis Nichols, Ron G, Coach Dre, Rick Riggs, Chris Price, Eric Thomas, Ryan Crawford, and Trent Emery. Love you guys. Hundo crew. I didn't count them up, Jackal.
Hey, real quick, I have to ask. I have to ask.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
What is the K in the crew? Like instead of a C, what's the K all about?
Somebody pulled that up. I don't know.
Okay.
You said it was
made
cool.
it-
I
It
don't
made
know.
it a truly shitty nickname to add the K.
Yeah, I didn't.
Well,
I didn't
you
make
said
up.
it, Shayne.
I didn't
know. Why
I
are you
didn't make
shitting on
up
the fan club, bro? Come on, man.
No, I didn't make it up the spelling of it, but
I was literally curious.
more.
I just saw
Yeah.
the K, you know.
I guess it's because it's I don't know. Good question. I don't know
Alex
who came up
probably
with that
has it.
either.
Yeah, Alex
Yeah,
has
Alex
one of the
H
response, I'm
probably.
sure.
Yeah.
The puppy or bear told him to do it, and the the little stuffed animal.
There you go.
I love it. Josh, you were awesome tonight, bro.
Oh, thanks, Jackal. Now, I just want to shout out my family, too. I love you guys. Everybody that I work with that came on, shout you guys out. There's too many, and it's too long, and I know Shayne wants to go. So, love you guys. And thanks for letting me come on, guys. This was for Spencer. And just so if anybody's around, just go check out Ryan Cox and his family. I mean, I've seen it before, but if it's Spencer and Ryan blows on the harmonica and Spencer laughs each time. It's just like the most precious thing I've ever seen. So love that Spencer Strong, Ryan Cox, and Spencer, man, you're strong as nails. Praying for you, and you touched my heart, bro. Little man, sorry. He's little man, not bro. So that's about all I got, guys. And this was a lot of fun, man. Thanks for letting me come on.
Absolutely.
No, thank you for coming on. It was a lot of fun to do
Yeah.
this. And we enjoyed it.
It was, Josh. You did a great job, man. It's everybody finds out. They think that doing this is easy, and the lights come on and shit changes real quick, and it's not easy. It takes a long time to get used to. And I know I said we were gonna have a little fun with our guy here, but I got to put at least one of these up here, Josh, because it's really a shout out to you. And this is from our boy that's on vacation wearing you see what they're wearing.
Oh,
there.
yeah. Well, he sent me 5 of those.
Oh yeah, he sent them. He sent them to
family.
me too. He's like, you got to share these with Josh. So yeah,
that's my man.
Phil Staple. Here, share these with Josh. I mean, I did send him 20 already, but yeah.
I'm wondering if he brought his chain with him. That thing was attached to his neck, right?
It probably rusted off in the salt water, but it definitely.
He put it on everybody on the plane, probably.
Oh yeah.
He loves that thing.
It definitely didn't get COVID.
Yeah.
Sorry, bad joke.
Twice.
But Cars, you're next up. You had any shout outs?
Oh wow. I guess it would help if I was thinking. No, listen, I say it every week, but I have so much fun interacting with everybody in the chat. Like, what makes me come back to doing this every time is everybody that's out there, and there's a lot of familiar names, and I enjoy interacting with everybody. Like, I know it sounds super cheesy and fake, but it's real to me. You guys are tremendous. It makes it fun for me to talk Bears. So thank you very much, everybody. And then the other one, obviously, is to my wife, who is putting the kids to sleep without me tonight and may just suffocate me in my sleep because of how bad they were behaving. So if you don't see me next time, my wife killed me, and I deserved it. Thank
3209. We got you.
Jackal.
First off, shout out to Josh, man. Josh, you killed it tonight. You did a great job. Congratulations on winning the raffle and taking that prized seat for the evening, which honestly, almost 4 hours of football is fucking awesome. I think this is getting us, it's perfect timing with training camp. And Josh, I thought you brought some insight and some great knowledge. Shayne and Cars, you guys were splendid as always. It's a pleasure to sit below and next to you on the screen in my basement. But realistic, to get a little serious, here in the Spencer Strong shout out. I shout out my family. My wife's family has some stuff going on, and I got some bad news with some family members. But the reason I bring that up, it was if you haven't heard from somebody in a while, or you think about them, reach out to them. Just give them a call, shoot them a text, see how they're doing. You never know what's going on. And sometimes those people that we don't think about that often, may just need to get in touch, just hear from somebody. And with all that being said, I love each and every one of you guys out there. I hope everyone has a safe and happy rest of the week. Tomorrow's Friday, so enjoy your Friday, get after it with Cars. And, I look forward to seeing you guys all next week, man, and have some fun. And, we'll have a tan Phil back with us. So have an awesome week, guys.
Yeah.
And I'll be shouting out Shayne, and his family, and thinking about everybody here on the panel. Yeah. So you guys stay safe, and love you guys.
Yeah, that leaves me. It's not everybody knows the story. I got stuff going on family-wise. I'm not really going to get into it right now too much. It is what it is, but Jackal said it perfectly. If you have, kids, family members, just be sure and hug them, because shit can change on a dime, you know what I mean? And shit gets real. Yeah. We pushed these guys were great tonight. Like I said, dealing with some stuff behind the scenes with my family. We had to push the show. Had some unexpected stuff come up. We'll inform everybody here when it's prudent to do so. Yeah. But it's been a real tough week for me personally, and it is what it is. Just love your kids, hug them, and don't take your time for them for granted, because it's you never know when things can happen and shit like that. It's just it's tough. And me being able to come on here with you guys tonight was therapeutic, something that I definitely needed. I talked about it to Jackal today. I went to work just to kind of get away and do that. So I appreciate all you guys. It was a fun show. It's always fun talking about football, talking to all you guys. I couldn't thank you guys anymore. Caden, man, props to you, bro, for putting together that intro. Yeah, Josh.
Great job. And it wasn't too long. I don't care what anybody says.
3.5 hours with no Phil? Unbelievable.
Yeah. That means it was all football, baby.
Whew. I love that shot. Well played. Love you, Phil. Sort of.
Yes, we do. We're just kidding. We love the songs and all the the things that we talk about, but we're just
it is.
Yeah.
We talk about
good fun.
TTNL being family first, and like I said, not to bring up my stuff here again. It's that's meant more to me over the past 48 hours. So it is what it is, and thank you guys for letting me vent. Logan, glad you got to come on and hanging out in the green room behind the scenes. Appreciate it, bro. And we're gonna get shit straight here, and we're gonna attack this season like none other. We got our quarterback, we got our TTNL, and that's all we need. We're gonna be making strides, and we're gonna be kicking ass, and we will be back with our full crew next week, and we're gonna get things going. So this is TTNL Network, Shy City Sports, keeping it 100, signing off. Hey, love you guys. Thanks for all the support. We appreciate everybody, each and every one of you so much. So this is TTNL signing out. Bear down.
This has been a Shy City Sports presentation and a Tape Never Lies Network production. Keeping it 100. Thanks for tuning in to the Tape Never Lies Network.